entering into this round for Midoriya's Morning Dew map.
Yeah, it is going to be Ears of Peak that we're starting off with. Wolves and Alliance and TE all trying to find loot as quickly as they possibly can. Wolves already getting their hands on a pulse sword, but having to burn out that F1 combo breaker on the Keelan because of the charged R&B damage coming on out from those halberds when Zem just does not have the armor to be able to tank the hits. He's locked into the stone form, and TE rally around 3 versus 1. There is absolutely nothing that Wolves could have done. Jem runs further away from his team, leading TE away so that Wolves have the opportunity to go for some loot and potentially timing attack in as TE and Alliance now go head-to-head. Dragon Slayers and Nez is going to be cleaving off a lot of that armor, but Wash is ready with that armor reset. NY7 on that Viper does have that F3, has already invested it, got that massive chunk of damage, but here comes the third party from KLA. Karumi Tava is going to come out as well to give that F3 90% damage reduction for them to be able to live through, but that means that the Viper is able to find another hit off the F3. The V1 now going to be coming on out, forcing KLA's players to have to break LOS or chase down that 5 second stun. Lovely parry from QGC onto NY7 on that Viper. Gets the follow-up with the vertical swing of the Greatsword into the Viper's spine. And KLA, successful third party coming through from them. A lot of these players already burning those revives right off of the rip.
Yeah, 3 eliminations given to KLA, and even then, you saw the parry not going through, allowing for his teammates to deal a little bit of damage, get some rage damage back, so that way they can get as much of their ultimates bar as much as possible. Now, Twilight's Pass, we mentioned this, GG, spawned in here and taking a lot of chances with FPX in the vicinity of looking potentially for a fight. There are bells to have the rotation route for this, so for whether or not FPX hits 1 or 2 of these along the sides of the western side, they could end up finding GG very soon. Now, the blue armors are going to be on standby for Sansi and Xiaohu, but you're going to switch this one over here. OUG are actually onto the south side. I may mention this, right? They made the loop pattern to go through all the gold areas available for them from the southeast down to the southern region. They could make the rotation towards into Imperium. They're not too sure about where the fights are going to be occurring or still be had in the Twilight's Pass. Otherwise, this is a great chance for them to get more opportunity for the gear. Purple dual blades is huge, especially for the damage spike on Keelan. That was a purple greatsword too for them to look and trying to transition over to the Hottie. JDG though, and into the Azoth Peak, it looks like they're going to be working around this area of the map. Actually taking out Volpine's Essence. No, this is the only team into Arcadia. What am I talking about? They got themselves that Jade on standby. That's 1,000 health restore when you reach 0. So Mortal Defiance plus it comes with a 40% mitigation. But we're going to see a fight coming out here. FPX takes an engagement against SS1. SS1 Rosemary go for the F3, avoids Junex. Junex taking a little bit of R&Bs. Now it's going to be the Matari for the confirmation kill. Theirs goes down to Kada. SS1 getting their first elimination to the game. Looking for his Scarish here. Rosemary looking for the opportunity for those staggers. Of course, Has gets caught by the Wisp. Doesn't have any sort of warriors here. The Karumi tether is going to be active to try to get the Takeda back into the game. He doesn't have ultimate just yet, but by the time that he gets res back up here, he should have it ready to go here. Matari still trying to go for this. Rosemary not going to be able to stop this res. There's going to be Takeda coming out here with the full armor and being able to go ahead, having ultimate to be ready. Rosemary will go on the offensive, straight to the semicircle, and making sure they can try to get a high ground. As the Fear and Blast is available, 2-2 goes down here as Hugh gets a kill from FPX, and now a second Fear comes out, allowing for Rosemary not to get a gold focus strike if they can. The Fear is going to deny it, and that's a full wipe, a complete wipe for this team. GG though, they're showing up for a third party, and this is going to be a free elimination spread for them. They're going to get some kills out here, but this is going to be a clean sweep for GG if done right.
Oh, that drop-down charge R&B on the Hengsud is absolutely gorgeous from CJS. Goes for the crouch horizontal, now trying to take the fight against the Takeda 2 versus 1. The jump LMBs on that staff. The flash of the parry from LXM. There's nothing that Jun could do. GG showcasing proper etiquette of the 2 versus 1 coming through, but we don't get any time to rest as JDG going to be going up against Barrier's Peak. The grapple bump extension going to be leading into the charge R&B on those halberds, and Tutik gets parried by the spear, which means Dragon Slayers into Ness's confirmation is going to be the Takeda ultimate coming on through. The knockback on activation allowing him to set up for the charged LMB on the daggers. Gets caught out by another charged R&B on those halberds. Has to be very careful. Kiki with that Kurumi is going to throw in the armor circle, but they're going to have to be very wary that they don't get sent out of it by that Zai coming on through. Tutik trying to set up the 2 versus 1 onto Yiran. It's going to be going incredibly low, but ASE coming on through with the third party, dropping in a Bane's Breath to make it even harder for these teams to be able to keep themselves coordinated amongst all of this additional AoE damage coming on out. Yang Dong has caught wind of where JDG's Tutik is running, and this is what we were talking about with that Keelan ultimate, the ability to be able to use those slashes and chase down targets. He knows that TwoTick invested that Takeda ultimate in the fight earlier. There's nothing that TwoTick can currently do at the moment, especially given the fact that Moran comes through for the backup reinforcements. The Zip able to secure the 2 versus 1 and take TwoTick on that Takeda down. ASC timing it absolutely perfectly and not getting greedy as well. They drop the Moonbane, they guarantee that the other teams that are already fighting have to back on off, and instead of trying to just take on too many players, they settle for the one that they can get without burning through all of their resources. Very smart stuff.
Yeah, now they're going to be able to come through, taking the 7 elimination spread. Hoping to see in the next 2 minutes if they're going to take that Romyang. For sure, they should be taking. The Lions still taking their fight against Bauda. Now we lose out you and Iran here, and it looks like this is their second set of lives after their first defeat. And now Bauda's peak just takes jump LMBs after another. That's Alliance's 5th elimination here, folks. This is going to give them enough gold to kind of work towards and making sure if they can go to a shop for a purple armor, if it hasn't been purchased out already, they can have that huge, mitigation spike and going towards the spear well on the outside. They don't take Romyangs with this comp. This is where they're going to have to play slow and steady and try to secure as much gear as possible when the time happens. So a lot of factors when it comes to Viper, Wooch, and Tessa. If they take any sort of fights against comps, it's going to be with a buff preemptive. Now, of course, OUG having around a good amount of mitigation with the purple armors. They taking a little bit of chances yet at one of these podiums where FPX were looking for a loop pattern. They get caught losing all the armors out. He's going to take that teleport for the tether, and Wolves actually in the vicinity of this area are probably just waiting this one out. FPX might be caught into an ambush here in just a second. OUG could be the third parties, either could them or Wolves, but Wolves is just hiding this one out here. They still have the comp still going through. No eliminations so far. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of poke between the two. F1 investment from Junex and Sanzi looking to try to get some Wistros and potentially coming out and just going for range spam as the common bow is out. That's still going to do work if they get one Wistro to confirm it for all the damage, for all the marbles, for all the DPS that can come out of it. 3 eliminations to FPX occurring right now. Purity Chamber, those spawn, or with the run a rotation as GG makes their way towards here. Of course, since this is going to be next to a Romyang, GG are looking to try to go ahead for the investment of it. We're going to take a look at the map overview. ASC, ALL are with Lions and KLA all by Heaven's Watch right now, hoping to kind of see if they can get an entry for round 1 or round 3. JDG, though, stuck in the zone looking for loot in terms of what is going to be around TE in Arcadia. And down to the southeast, you can see how DRG and Wolves are still kiting around this Romyang, and OUG and FPX back into Twilight's Pass, hoping to see whether or not we can have a chance of an engagement there before Romyang. Otherwise, one of these teams may not make it, and they might have to scrap off in the outskirts. We'll have to see the next 30 seconds or so and seeing if that does occur.
Right, take a note. GG have Cavalry Bloom on that Kylan. And they're also right next to a Ram of Yang, so that's probably going to be coming out in a matter of moments. A lot of these teams, that's one of the reasons why we didn't see anyone really lock a fight in around that floating pile, just wanting to try and find some loot before the Ram of Yang spawn for the Takeda V3. It's really important that they do find that loot to be able to scale the ultimate into its highest state of charge. We're going to see ASE going up against OUG. In the meantime, GG are going to be pitted up against Wolves with their Cavalry Bloom. And it's going to be us following the Cardi composition. Jiangdong with that bow as well as a purple spear looks for the grapple connection onto OUG's The King, trying to chase him down. Who is going to burn their ultimate first? Jiangdong doesn't want to use his until he sees the hyper carry. Proc his first is going to be focusing onto that Zit, trying to force the sustain utility as quickly as possible. The combo breaker comes on through. Hardy already had set up that cube for Jiangdong to be able to track down where the Zip has run off to, not allowing the reset. That's going to be the Zip ultimate now forced, and as a result, here comes the Keelan V2, dashes through the Zip, trying to proc that sedated soul as quickly as possible before turning on to OUG's hyper carries. The second that sustainability has been burned out, sees the King utilizing that Hardy cube to get away. The glider unfortunately gets clip interrupted by that Kylan dash. He's able to keep tracking down where the other Kylan's carry is as well. So OUG not being able to put enough pressure onto these players of ASE because of the focus that Jiangdong is able to find. The jump horizontals with the staff going to be setting up that full kill as he utilizes the Hardy glider to try and set into motion. The Dragon Slayers cancels it out early to just go for the base charge LMB, but still gets so much pressure. It's already going to be OUG losing a lot of their players. It's just the Hardy left with his ultimate, trying to live as long as he possibly can. Could potentially time it out with 28 seconds left. He's going to be trying to do. The bow comes out from the Kyle and the grapples as well. Everybody trying to get as much damage as possible to clip the wings and take SS out of flight temporarily. 15 seconds, 14. He tries to make it to the pillar to be able to scale rush. Gets locked into the 1-2, but has the cube still set up to escape. 6, 5, 4, 3. He's going to live. We're going to see the timeout. He survives the 1 versus 3 for an entire minute.
That's my boy right there. Yo, SS knew what to do. The objective, survive. And knowing that, if you guys don't know, the teleporter, it can be set up at any point in time. And at which point, once the frame 1 drops into the sky, it has that the counter of the duration of the ultimate, which in for Hadi is 24 seconds. So having the opportunity of just delaying his ultimate casts and then having the teleporter to be set up later on guarantees him to have that cube up for the last remaining 20 or so seconds. And in which case, he has 2 combo breakers because he had F2, and then he takes a teleporter if he needed it, and it was used in the vice versa fashion. No one can catch up to him. It's a 45-meter range. No one can go ahead and close gap to its distance unless they're preemptive in notion towards capturing him. And even then, he had his combo breaker still on standby. So that's going to be a double Realm of Yang depletion for the fights between ASE and OUG. So hopefully see whether or not we go into the engagement. DRG, though, victors. They got themselves a gold Hong sword set up for Dongqing, and that's going to be up to the Zai to deal out the DPS necessary. I mean, right now, the supplies is looking pretty nice for them to kind of go out into the outskirts of Imperium towards the Black Tortoise Gate. Now, of course, having towards Wolves in soul form as well as with ASC, it's up to them to try to look for an engagement, knowing that they can see other soul form players. They have to make sure and noticing of the opportunity to spawn in here. 9 eliminations for ASC. They've been doing pretty snapped into the first minutes of this match, first realm beforehand, and now opportunity strikes if they can see for a third party. Twilight's passed, though, back into the towards the Heaven Temple or towards the Honor Temple, I should say. FPX spawning in here and noticing that there are opponents into the distance. OUG kind of rocking around the Rosie into the Twilight's Pass, hoping to see if they can get these eliminations, because right now Realm of Yang depletion is ticking. We got 2 minutes on the clock for them. They got blue armors, 3 kills, eliminations. They still have the common bow for due next, but they could take an opportunity to strike right now. And considering it's a Kata Yin comp, it's going to be a very high risk and high investment type fight, considering that they need to make sure that they can get this Hadi and using his ultimate early on, and there's going to be the case right there.
Oh, here we go. OUG Sinyu has to utilize that combo breaker early, though. Jun overholding the charged RMB on that fam. The King also looking to utilize those charged RMBs to get a little bit of damage. We're not on live, so no back parry availability. Kurumi ultimate comes out. As a result, Jinyu is going to pop in that Keelan dashes to try and knock everyone out of it. Focusing fully on getting the Kurumi away from the teammates. Jahu does have a recast, will be able to utilize it against the cliff, so if Jinyu does have the dashes, they're still going to be able to be kept in. That AoE gets hit into by the Wisp, almost eats the full meter dump coming on from those nunchucks, is going to lose the weapon, gets parried. Unfortunately, OG Jinyu are going to lose a player instead of a weapon, and Jun that comes through with the slaps to set up for his support to keep the damage coming. Swaps to the fist blades, gets the jump LMBs. That's absolutely crazy. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a Takeda use the slaps to set into motion the Fear and Shell follow through. Really good stuff coming on through from the players of FPXs. It's now just poor SS, the lone survivor from OUG. The Kurumi is going to cast that armor circle just to make sure that it's not going to be a trade coming out from these players. SS going to be setting up that cube, trying to get out of dodge as quickly as possible before coming on through with the triple charge state of that ultimate. Kurumi Teva comes on through for Jun to be able to tank the entire hit of that damaged SS, waiting for the full 4 seconds for the 90% damage reduction to be off of the table before tracking the Kurumi down. Keeps the pressure onto the Takeda, but is looking for this hit onto that Kurumi. Gets the combo breaker, set up the cube in the sky so that he can keep the threaten going. However, Jun coming on through with the Takeda F1 is going to force SS to have to back off away from throwing out that focus. The combo breaker has been used into the zone. He goes has to just try and utilize these rocks and Scale Rush away as quickly as he possibly can. Finds the Scale Rush clip onto the Takeda's ankles though, and now gets to turn in onto that Kurumi. Is incredibly low, hasn't been able to find any form of reset. Junna's going to utilize that Takeda ultimate and the knockback with the Fury and shoves to set up into the bow swap so they can finally get the kill, but an admirable survival rate coming on through from OUG's SS, showcasing how versatile and really frustrating Huddy can be even in the 1 versus 2.
Yeah, and SS is like the King's Guard, just trying to hold out as long as possible to make sure that the time can just be burnt out. Huge tassel, though, happening over here towards the west side of the Imperium region. Now, of course, GG taking their chances here with this gold katana to be in hand. 8 eliminations for GG right now. Now they're rotating towards the until the Hall of Eternity. Hopefully the same to kind of see about getting towards Rumying, especially considering that there's any outskirts teams. They're going to make their way towards the bells and seeing about that. But GG are actually at currently, they're rotating around here. They don't have the elimination count to get that sword. We were hoping for it, but it's not going to happen here, folks. So hopefully it will happen in the future. Wolves, though, takes into NIHQ's position. All of Wolves is still alive, though, and they're having to spare well towards themselves. Now, JDG on the north side, you can see they're making a rotation out here from the west side of Imperium. KLA working Draco Storm into the mix, making sure they can take the engagement. The push towards GG is immaculate right now, and especially considering that you see Yuma getting a chance of getting the Rebirth Charm to be purchased and looking for the res for their third teammate for their Wu Chen. Now, this kind of aggression is kind of going to be, a wild haymaker play. KLA having this Draco Storm are going to be pushing around and making their approach towards TE. TE14 taking strikes, loses all armored. Draco Storm procs are going to happen. The sticks, the staggers, and the Cloud Weaver being revealed. TE14 has something they want now, and that's going to be the elimination. They're going to get that Soul Bloom. They're going to make sure they can rotate that out, but they have 0 grapples on QGG so far, but he is going to be looking to try to get that Cloud Weaver for the team. I mean, right now, for a Takeda to have that, that's huge for KLA, and they're going to take the eliminations up to 6 count for this round. We're going to see engagements out towards near to the Ancient Stockade. Wolves is going to be getting pressured out through here with their Draco Storm for another 2 minutes. Of course, you can see ZK taking a lot of damage here. Hasn't procced the zipping ult just in his case. 2-6 looking to try to spam out the RMBs. Kylan ultimate or coming through from Wolves as JDG make sure they can try to spam out the RMBs, but the rendering slashes come into works, and there's going to be the F1 connected against NIHQ. Gets caught by the somersault, and 2-6 is going to be having his ultimate still on standby, just holding on for dear life and just making sure you try to wait for the investment for it, because you can consider that the Ancient Stockade has a lot of kiting potential for these teams to look around and try to space out. But there goes Jing. 2-6 still has another Furin or 2 to be able to be used against his pressure that is being done towards Kiki. Kiki in the back line has a chance of using it. NIHQ goes into ult form for the Hottie, getting the teleporter set up for the second time as the lever tech is going to be prepared. Tusik having no chances of using this Fear and Blast for a late, so one more time, but he's going to lock down Zem. As a result, he has a free RMB, but the teleporter's been set. We saw that earlier from NIHQ. Now Kiki's going to be the result of the BAM, with a 3-man squad onto the Kurumi. Now Tusik has to play this out into the vicinity for this match. As long as that chase from Wolf Zem going ahead and cutting out Cowabunga dude onto the Mercury River, he's making his way towards him as the chase goes on for elimination 3.
Oh yeah, they are not giving that kill up.
0 grapples.
They could potentially run into S1 though, who are in the area. They just popped up on the mini-map, so Wolves are gonna have to be very careful. Does he check the cave? He goes to the invisibility bush first. Oh,
crazy.
Oh, there we go. He finds him with the uppercut. I was wondering if Tutik was going to try and go for the surprise Scale Rush, or if he was just going to try and very quietly keep his corner and hope that he didn't get spotted. Looks like he tried to go for the stealthy approach. Didn't quite work out for him, as moving back into Imperium. GG potentially taking a fight against KLA. KLA still having a minute left on this Draco Storm, though. It's definitely going to deter a lot of these teams in the area. From that prospect, is we are going to see them just take a little bit of downtime over towards the shop. GG potentially thinking about dropping down on top of them. That's something that we've seen so much from today. A lot of these players prioritizing the drop-down charged RMB with that hang sword, very much in the same style of assassination plays that we've seen with the Viper V1 drop-downs from rooftops and treetops. Loving to see it get translated over to compositions where the Viper isn't enabled. As we're going to have a look at GG picking up that variant challenge scroll. So they are going to be giving their position away, but they're going to be trading it off for the information of teams in their surrounding areas. A miniature Mystic Might, if you will, as Wolves. Gonna be hunting someone. They're definitely moving with a purpose. They could potentially be S1 that they were looking for, but they kited past them. So it might be either them chasing someone or them trying to run from Alliance, who are hot on their heels currently. as KLA are also in the vicinity. Wolves have to be very, very careful. They're in a very odd spot. They've got 2 sets of purple armor, but they've still got 1 set of blue. And it's interesting that they have that purple set on their zip. They've noticed that a lot of these players, when it comes to trying to counter the Cardi composition, prioritize trying to kill the zip first. It's very similar to how you deal with the Kurumi composition. To force that sustain utility as quickly as you can, then once you've been able to force that, you can go about trying to kill whoever is actually going to be that hyper carry, because the damage will suddenly stick. As DRG and FPX gonna be facing off, not quite in a fight. Donkwing more than satisfied to just come in with the cannon shots and chase FPX a little bit further away so they can keep a hold of this high ground position. They've seen the Valiant challenge. They know that there's a lot of teams in this area, and no one really wants to take a fight when there's a third-party prospect.
Yeah, Wolves also has, it's interesting, they actually set themselves up with the purple armor onto ZK. He actually has group heal as well. Kind of keeping the team sustained into its masses. If the zipping can hatch a little bit of time and catching heals for their teammates, I mean, this gives full reset capabilities for the teams, especially when there's burn tick damage. Now, we're looking to the replay here. Zem takes into the first Ramyang here for Wolves as they took the fight in almost an immediate deletion against 3-3-0, who now has a zipping ult active for GG. Now you can see the Keelan's going to be rotating straight towards the back line. They see towards and making sure that ZK has a lot of pressure to use their ultimate on standby, and that's going to be the case. Now, Keelan ultimate versus Keelan ultimate. Zem being the second case. Now HQ is going to be going in the slash form. You can see he's still in Hottie state for the swings, and he's just going to keep the pressure on for that enemy Keelan, so that makes sure that he can try to lock down with his teammate at the same time. The Keelan guard is activated right now for Zem, so we're looking to try to go for the level 2 swings. He finds 3-3 on the backline, takes a teleporter, realizes it, notices it, goes ahead, tries to go for the charge LMB, looks to make sure he gets caught by the capital. We know that CJS has this from the beginning of the game. The teleporter has been taken, but Zem looks to kite out here with the Hottie lever and gets caught again. CJS just doing the pressure here. Now, not Wolves' 9HQ gets caught. LMB is going to force the F2 investment for that combo breaker as 9HQ gets caught. No stone form, no protection here, and that's going to be where we see GG win out the Ramyang. Wolves hadn't have a chance of surviving that. That's why we see this katana being used for, or the Hong Sword, I should say, for CJS now currently. But of course, you know that he has Cavalum on the standby, so if anything leads out towards pressure in the flop state, that's exactly what he's going to be looking to try to swap out towards in terms of the secondary. Even though he has a cannon on a standby, just make sure he can kind of prop those Rupture Gale shots if he does have the Jade. Now, this is going to be a dangerous area. This is the skill diff area, man. You got Solar Jellyfish in the standby, Solar Fortifiers, the jellyfish that you see flying around, the poison shrooms, a lot of tears. I was talking to Moxie, you know, we were talking about this before, about how detrimental this area can be, especially into the endgame circles for a lot of these teams.
Well, speaking about detrimental, playing in the middle of a spirit wall when it's this wholly contested is plenty detrimental, as KLA have found out GG gonna be moving into that location. CJS showcasing Rampage on that Hangsword with the purple focus after the spin coming on through, as KLA definitely looking like they want to try and contest this. They're going to have to be very careful about how they do so, as we do see the Kurumi Tower coming out for KLA to immediately run forward. More than happy to utilize GG as a target for everyone else in the area, waiting for that dome to pop before absolutely every team in the area converges to try and grab any loot that they possibly can. That is not the last Spirit Well. That is not the Spirit Well that has a buff, and as a result, that is not the Spirit Well that has the loot lockout. It is an absolute free-for-all, a smash and grab, as Alliance, the only team with the Wu Chen, going to have set up that teleporter just in case things go a little bit south, as we're going to see KLA and Wolves and FPX being very careful around those jellyfish to not hit into that poison proc, which absolutely melts your health bar. A true death sentence if anyone does get hit into by that, with teams being able to focus them and notice. As GG with that legendary Hangsword thinking about potentially putting some pressure onto KLA, who are pretty close to the edges of the zone. However, that Bane's Breath is going to make it a little bit problematic for some of these teams to find the aggressive opening that they've been looking for. Much more important that everyone postures up to try and get positioning on the next Spirit Well from spawning on through. That being said, KLA, under pressure, have actually been forced into burning that Tumult ultimate. Might be able to find the revive onto CXZ because of that, but now they have to worry about the third party from coming on out. Alliance with that Tesla ultimate going to be announcing their entrance. CXZ got the Kurumi V2 to come through, so he does recover some of his armor, but KLA are going to be so low down when it comes to resources, as they've had to pop everything. Kurumi armor, Circle, Tumult, Welch ultimate, even Takeda ultimate with the V3 from QGG, just utilizing those Fury shoves to buy his players the space, but he has to go into the middle of the Bane. He gets the Karumi Tether. The 20% damage reduction is the only reason that he is currently alive, as Alliance decide to double down and try and chase after the players from KLA. They're able to find CXZ because of the Bane's Breath. Unfortunately, they don't actually get the kill percentage. Instead, now they have to try and chase down this poor Karumi from KLA who's been left behind. The Takeda kept running into the building. The Karumi to cover in the ruins gets the Tester ultimate to be able to show where exactly 17S has tried to scurry off to, and gets tracked down by the repeater crossbow. And that is why you have to be so wary of Tessa ultimate entrances, because they can absolutely ruin your composition in seconds.
Yeah, Alliance takes in the confidence to a whole new level for this round. 8 eliminations so far. We are seeing DRG taking aggression for the Mystic Might Spearwell buff, and now it's going to be a chance between Dongqing looking for the Scare Rush, looking for the kiting, especially looking for a cannon shot from the sky below to hit down into the Spearwell dome. Now, of course, DRG making sure they can make this approach here very carefully. The West Row is confirmed CJS can take some shots, but we do know that 330 does have advanced heal and a group heal to be available for the team. So whether or not he's going to be having that chance of just looking through the lockdown, there's going to be a ground force coming in from FPX and GNX, getting a huge parry from the pole sword with a gold rarity. And now you can see Wolves is taking the aggression. They want this Spearwell as well. Even though it's Mystic Might, this could be vision, this could be mitigation. A lot of things to keep in consideration when it comes down to poke damage here. And CGS takes everything going through for Team GG. Of course, 10 eliminations for this team with Gold Fan and going for those Rupture Gale burns is forcing out the team to try to go for some massive quarter heals. And now CGS looking at this Spearwell at 30 percentile points of just trying to clear it out, trying to deny entry from any other players. Kakashi is literally griefing them out. In Matari Ultimate being forced out. Junex loses that pole sword. He gets his Fear and Blast out, but he loses every single opportunity of getting it right back up. And now he's on fan duty for the blue rarity. Junex is F1, but he catches that Blistering Edge, taking the time to heal here. We still see the Spearwell being contested. This is exactly how it's going to have to be played. These teams don't want to make sure the resets on ultimates that cause a spam from a Zyphon comp potentially, or even for a Kata Yin comp. Now, of course, CJS is still trying to contest this at 60 percentile points. CJS gets a huge test enchant being procced by Alliance, and now it's going to be up to whether or not he can get out of this alive. Obviously, the enchant's going to be depleted here once he loses that HP threshold. Takes a teleport from the sky set up by LXM and just looking to try to go for the cannon shots down below. Wolves is trying to contest this even more so and forcing out the sustain. GG is still going to be trying to go through. They have the necessary supplies until it runs out. The war of attrition is going to be occurring. Yes, you can see Dongqing, he's going for cannon shots from the range in the distance. And as XEM has ultimate still looking for the meter dump, the Spearwell meter just goes straight down below 25 percentile. And now Wolves XEM gets caught by that Cloud Reaper that we saw earlier. It looks like FPX's Zhao Hu is going to be the one spamming it out as the Karumi. And as June X makes sure he can try to go for these RMBs, he's getting his F1 to be depleted. And this is going to be a chance for the play to just back away from this zone, because it is going to be pushing everyone away. Yuma from Alliance takes a double enchant as it comes out, but June X catches that jump horizontal, getting the elimination. And that's going to be 10 eliminations for FPX before we enter into the last 2 minutes.
GG got the buff. Everyone moved away, but GG rolled the dice to stick around the Spirit while even taking that massive hit of damage coming through from the zone, because they know if they get it, Free gets double ultimate, and as a result, GG with 10 kills. Now very much in the driver's seat of this lobby. Everybody going to be trying to hide themselves away. You can see FPX just with that Cloud Weaver thinking about dropping down potentially and assassinating onto Wolves, who are going to skirmish in and out. DRG trying to take cover in that Karumi ultimate, looking to find a spot of recovery, as it is going to be GG with the cannon pressure, having to try and take on this high ground ledge space that Wolves are potentially going to try and contest them off onto. Alliance with that Viper trying to build up the rage to hit into that V1, holding onto a high ground ledge so that they can drop down with that stun and put everyone in this lobby for pause for 5 seconds. But Wolves have been spotted out on the low ground. GG with the cannon comes on through. CJS gets parried out of the charged R&B on that fan. Will be able to break away thanks to the F1 on that Keelan. Backs up to the rest of his team, so no follow through coming on out. No punishment, as it does look like all of these players are going to be waiting for everyone to make their move. We're potentially going all the way to heal off, which is going to allow Alliance's Viper to build up that last bit of rage to come through with that V1. We've got a Sand Siphon composition still in the mix for FPX. There's the Viper V1 sending on off for NY7. Can he find anyone? Everyone able to break away for the most part with the LOS snap, and Alliance's NY7 does go down. Zone going to be closing up even further. Takeda ultimate invested, Furin shoves, and Kylan ultimate all coming on out as everyone tries to send everyone into that corruption tick damage as much as they possibly can. Temi ultimate has been invested on the side of Sand Siphon for FPX, but we're going to see the Kylans already able to utilize those dashes and keep themselves in the middle of it for the most part. And GG going to be losing some of their players, but not all of them. Heal off comes on through. LXM with the Flamer trying to win. Tap dodges away before the fan can get that last chunk of damage necessary to take him down, and it will be a tie, I believe, between GG and DRG for the last team standing. However, GG, with all of the kills that they were able to accrue, are going to be able to take MVP.
Yeah, they're taking the value of 12 eliminations, so take at least a 2-point pass. This is going to be a fight. A little skirmish. KLA having a little bit of chances here to get some early game loot. Sanzi, frame one, Ballista looking for cannon shots from G. I think I was missing. He's going to have to go for the scare rush with the spear. Kind of located himself and getting caught out. So Sanzi's looking straight at him. This forces KLA possibly just to back off. I heard the Ballista shot in the background. 17S takes the Scorch, a little bit tick burn. Over to Yushan Ruins though. SS1 Mad Lad loot, man. That's purple armor, blue armor, and common ready to go for SS1. They go straight to the room and they're going to get ambushed here as it comes out from TE. Looking to try to go for the R&Bs. No armors for Leo or 14, but they're going to make this one work if they can. And obviously taking the chances, just losing the fist blades. The F1's already out for the Takeda, so we got to be careful by the blues. Looks for the parry. He confirms it. He gets a hit. It's going to be an R&B, another parry, but this time SS1 Rosemary has to be careful about this. Rosemary having looked at the whole horizontal, gets the release and looks to try to soul break out here, but of course the fan coming out back and forth and looking for the swing wide. There's going to be Watch getting double targets and going for fist plates. Gets caught by the parry into that Wistro, and the reconnection comes out, but all the releases. Leo keeping the team alive. 14 goes down. Sobloom picked up for Zhen. This is going to be the ultimate for the Takeda in just a couple of seconds. Watch has to be very quickly with the kill eliminations here. And of course, his teammate Leo goes down here. And that's going to be where we're going to see slaps coming left and right to try to confirm against it. But there's going to be the parry. And that's going to be where SS1 looks to try to get their third elimination against Watch. Of course, no investment for the ultimate for the Takeda here. It shouldn't be, because that's going to be that secondary parry. All the blues and three eliminations for SS1.
Yeah, Ambush is set up and completed successfully. Bowder and KLA now going head-to-head. QGG coming in with that Viper V1. Already gets a lot of people incredibly low. Goes for the charge vertical on that spear, trying to find that last hit of damage. However, they have to abandon plans, as here comes ASE with a third party. Bowder's U instead is the one left to the Wolves, as ASE, a composition that we don't always see third partying, actually turning in on the Viper Tessa Wuchen composition. Instead, Yuran is going to fall shortly afterwards as well. Back to the Salt Altar. They are going to have to go, as ASE going to be able to pick up some of those loot upgrades that they were looking for. The question is, has anyone been able to actually solve Salvation Podium? The answer is no. Both FPX and KLA had landed in this location, but must have been chased away. I guess Bowder tried to timing attack and then kited down south. And ASE coming in with that late third party are actually now going to be able to put themselves onto the platform, potentially send one of their players down below and get a read on where those arrows are going to be pointing those pillars. If you want to know why FPX were able to get so quickly onto the Ballista in comparison to KLA, by the way, Chad, it's because FPX spawned on the right side of Ballista as opposed to the left, where it's RNG still, but if you spawn on the right side, you have a higher chance of spawning closer to the Ballista than if you pick the left option. So as a result, it wasn't so much a 50-50, but more a 75-25 against KLA's chances. But ASE are going to be the ones profiting the most from Salvation Podium early on. They're able to get their hands onto a legendary weapon to start power spiking up immediately before that first round of Yang even spawns on through. GG and Alliance now having moved over from Imperial over towards Ruins, going to be taking a fight. Xiphon against Cardi Comp. CJS trying to find the chase down with this longsword, forcing out that Zai into burning the F3, chases away from the portal so NY7 cannot go through and run further away. However, he has been able to buy Yuma and Revenge on the Matari and the Zipping a second lease of life, leading the other team further away from his teammates, so they only have to potentially find one revive charm as opposed to being knocked out of the lobby early immediately.
Yeah, knowing how the box spawns go through, finding dark tide coins in crates and barrels, such as you can see with SS, breaking every single barrel, trying to see if you can get as much gold and dark tide coins as possible. The team is going to be able to try to get their teammate back up for the zip. I should say for the Zai, for Team Alliance. Now, DRGs, they're running through the Altar Tranquility here. 0 eliminations. Obviously, into the Serpent's Pass, they could take the rotation down towards the northwest. Their fights might be led towards taking a portal into the Yushan Ruins, potentially. Now, DRG having purple armor, or purple weapon, I should say, for the halberds. They're going to find JDG's 2-stick. It's going to be him caught out here. There's going to be elimination potential in a quick fashion, as that's going to be a V1 from the Tessa. Now, there's going to be a chance for the V3 to make his appearance from a Viper, very rarely seen into this course of the meta. Now, it's going to be Kakashi getting caught by the pack of the punch of the V3, and now it's going to be using his ultimate to see whether the Wuchen port is going to be coming out here. Potentially, they're going to get themselves the stun double hits. That's going to be a full set elimination. The halberds coming into play, but the Wuchen port gets them out, and that's going to be JDG, making me looking for a chance of regressing this fight. Now, 2-stick getting only 1 vitality heal. He's going to go straight back in with 1,000 HP, but he takes the time of healing up another set of armor heal for the armor powder. Now dropping in from below, has 43 percentage points left on his rage bar, looking to try to go for the second Tesla enchant, gets himself an R&B, gets caught by the F3 from the Viper. That's a big hit onto the armor bar, but 2-stick is going to be not shying away, keeping high ground position, looking towards and making sure that he can regroup with Tiki, because Kakashi is in the middle of this action, sees the test enchant. There's going to be a double test enchant, this time against DRG. Now, of course, Kakashi gets caught into a parry. Kiki gets a hot proc off of it, and the fan gets immediate elimination from 2-stick. Now, Jing is down here, but they're going to be trying to contest. They see Wuchen, and he gets that parry. Nicely done. And 2-stick says, no, right back at you. And the Wuchen port comes out. DRG going to use theirs. And this might be a round 3 fight. Otherwise, they might just go for a full reset, because otherwise, DRG going straight to Serpent's Pass, not taking any more aggression from this team.
Yeah, it's not going to be ding ding a third time. It's going to be the bell ringing out as both of these teams are gonna call it a day. DRG very much looking to try to recover. Gonna have to be careful, because I believe they're headed over to where we saw GG last as Bowder. It was very surprising that Bowder spawned up towards Jin's armory, because Bowder in the past on Holoroth have actually dropped on top of GG. Normally they contest Imperial and Waterfall, but it looks like they've backed on off from that contested zone, now going head-to-head against Kayleigh on the outskirts of Plumed Tessa ultimate and Viper ultimate. So 8 seconds of stun enchantment potentially coming on out. However, Zone with that Moonbane, as well as the Takeda ultimate that Gen 1 procced early on, so that he could send those Fury and Shoves and peel for his players if necessary, if that 8-second stun window went through and they weren't able to interact with the Soul Urn and snap the tether early. Really good defensive plays coming in out from Zone, which and Teleport, as a result, going to be called on in so that they can reposition and try and kite the fight away from that Bane's Breath. In the meantime, ASE and Bowder going head-to-head, getting dangerously close to that trap clip on the floor. Jiangdong goes for the overhold, gets hit into now by that Viper F3, takes a lot of damage, loses a huge chunk of his armor, gets the Kurumi on the circle to come on out, as well as that Tumult ultimate, trapping all of these players, forces that Wuchen teleport. There's some on the side of Bowder, but they do not go far at all. Have they been spotted out, because they teleported not further in front, but backwards. And as a result, ASE are going to double down. Takeda ultimate comes on out. Peak tries to come through with that zoning Tessa play, looking to try and find the stagger, but unfortunately gets parried by the spear, which means a confirmed Nessus coming on through and cleaving all of his players. Yu's already gone down. Peak looks to go for Dragon Slayers himself to try and set up. Will be able to find it onto Moran, who is going to go down. It's now going to be Jiangdong versus 2 players from the side of Bowder, and the Takeda has to back on off, because Yiran went for the threat of the slaps to keep Jiangdong from being able to win out and do anything in the 1 versus 2. He's going to go down, and it's going to be in the time for them to pick up Yu as well. Bowder, that was such a risky play, teleporting back into the zone. But it's really good Wuchen Windwalls coming on through, just getting that shield back into the mix. Tessa ultimate not finding the snap, but still being able to sow the seeds of disarray. Is GG going to be heading into the realm of Yang to go up against FPX?
CJS goes to the sky, keeping the staff alive. Of course, looking to try to go for a parry if he can against UNEX, who's going to be hold checking the heck out of him. There's the F1 investment. Combo Breaker is now down. CGS gets caught by a double horizontal release, loses all his armor. This might be a force proc that is being done by FPX. The play is going to be made. The F1 investment in the air where he was no longer in danger. Sanzi has to be able to backline for a heal off as it comes out of CGS, looking to try to deny the heal. Can't get it. Has ultimate up in just a couple seconds for him to decide about making a decision. There it is. Temi Circle can come out here, soaking the tumult circle to deny the entry for as the chase against the Takeda. CGS is locked in and he can't do anything about this. The rendering slash won't come out here, and there's going to be a chance for the Furin to come through at the most opportune moment. If it comes out, CGS can look to try to get elimination completely against the Furin, but it's not going to be happening. Takeda won't be able to do anything about this. As long as he gets caught through, though, he's locked down. CGS looks to avoid it every single time he can go for these slashes. CGS is making more of an issue. There's the parry. JUNEX might hit the invest the Furin in the opposite direction. Yes, it does. And the teleporter could be set up here from LXM. I see him in Hottie teleported for the second time. Now it's going to be a teleport to be used. CGS gets himself out of there. RMB to be charged up, looks to reposition midair. Now it's going to be a chance between Sanzi getting eliminated from a scare rush. Of course, CGS doesn't make the up 10. He goes straight to the face of the Kurumi. Double roll jump LMB coming in here from that play. And of course, as Xiao Hu gets the elimination, JUNEX gets caught. One LMB to the next. There's going to be his elimination number 2, GG on a two-man team, two-man squad. And that's going to be a full squad wipe for them to get. GG winning out Rummy Yang here with purple armors across the board, purple weapons, now a gold staff on CJS, having a pole sword action to be available. And they're going to be looking for a buff now. Vermilion's going to be picked up. You obviously know that's going to be the case, and this is going to be the insurance policy. Whether or not we want to see what happens outside the Rummy Yang, I want to see what the buffs we have on the outskirts and what's been able to be picked up from those Viper Wooch and Tessa teams to see how the amount of regression comes out towards into Plume Castle from this point on.
I think some teams still haven't picked up their buffs, as a couple of them are still in the process of recovering. Alliance, during that Realm of Yang, picked up a rebirth charm. Remember, Alliance are running the Siphon with the Zip rather than the Kurumi. Wolves are going to have been able to walk out the winner of their Realm of Yang, picking themselves up Vermilion Bird's Might. They'll pick it up in a matter of moments. They're just trying to delay that buff pickup as long as they possibly can so that they can have it longer in the open field. JDG with that Viper Tessa Wuchen going to be camping on up over by this Spirit Well, not going to be proccing it for as long as it possibly can be, as they are aware of teams having won that Realm of Yang. Now going to be looking to trek on over and find those places where a lot of these teams are going to be drawn into those fights. OUG and FPX probably going to be taking a fight almost immediately as they both pick the same Soul Altar. Someone got left behind on the side of OUG and gets jumped on by 3 players of FPX. Jin's going to get that Kurumi to have the 90% damage reduction, utilizes the focus to be able to tank through that Tumult Wisp attempt, finds the F1 connection onto OUG's SS as well as the first Kurumi comes on through with that V2. Huge jump parry from the side of Jun on this Takeda, looks for the drop down focus hits. However, he's now going to get hit by that Takeda F1 on the other side. Both of these Takedas utilizing their ultimates to regain control of that neutral as FPX set up this kill hit onto OUG's SS. The Furin shells allowing Sandy to close up the distance with the pulse out into the charged R&B follow-up from Jun with that fan. They've been able to dispatch Jinyu. Now it's going to be SS going incredibly low. One more Furin shell utilized to be able to pick up that kill, but they have to be careful because here comes the third party from that Tesla ultimate. Bauda showing up to the party uninvited, and FPX are not going to be happy about that one, especially because Jun gets hit into by that Viper V1. 5-second stagger window allows you to come through with the full hit of that Heng Sword, and it's all falling apart for FPX. Bauda understanding the situation perfectly. Teams of Yang Depletion have to fight. This is a composition built to third party. They wait for all of the ultimates to be gone. They wait for the Tumultuous to have burned those isolating zone plays as well as the Takeda ultimates to be entirely off of the table. So even when the Takeda gets staggered, he's not able to utilize those Furin shelves and save his players. And Bauda with a very clean third party. Full sweep 2 entire teams.
Gotta knock the table when I say this because I don't want anything to happen to my boys. Battle doing pretty good, especially coming out from the fights over by the Windy Stones. Now we're gonna look towards Alliance and their Xiphon comp against Wolves. Now XCM has that gold Hong Sword on standby. Vermilions for another 30 seconds, and there's to be the parry. Yuma takes a full hit, takes a cannon shot as well. The army from the Pulse Sword comes in here from NIHQ to try to connect. It's not gonna occur. Now the F2 comes out from the Matari. Now Zem is looking to try to go for the Keelan ultimate to try to connection with it. Finds a double slash, goes for the low 3 again, hits inside the building. This building's gonna be a lockdown potential for him and against his opponents. Knee 7 takes a little bit more damage he's looking for. But the Keelan guard is now procced, and now it's done. Now the eliminations are going to be spread out. And E7 looking to try to look for the jump LMBs again and again. He doesn't connect that one, but he's keeping that momentum as ZK gets caught by the parry. The slashes come out, Yuma goes down, and Zem picks up the solo, and the Vermilions is still active for this team. And they still have a chance of just reaching out towards the Ember Hawk and going towards the Salvation Podium, potentially getting out of harm's way of the zone take damage. Now we're at 6 eliminations for Wolves, but we still have 9 eliminations at ASE have lost to Kurumi. Now that's an interesting case scenario. Honestly, the replay coming out from the Romyang as Wolves takes into that Romyang victory, of course, looking for just slashes and looking to try to go ahead, and Keelan guard is procced here as the onslaught comes out against a Kurumi ultimate. Now we're at 30 seconds. Now that Takeda ultimate is out. Seeing how the rotation comes out here, this is where the Keelan ultimate is going to be depleted. How they get out of this, I want to make sure you're looking at how this happens, because XCM takes a full blast, takes his combo breaker in usage against that Furin, takes an R&B, doesn't lose all his health because of that, and looks to try to go ahead for the sustain. The zipping in is keeping him alive with the V1 and F1, but as XCM goes down, now it's up to his teammates NiHQ and ZK to work through. They got a Hottie teleporter to be set up. He's going to use a teleporter first and set up himself offensively to try to get ZK through and keeping that pressure on. As NiHQ goes for level 2 swing, he catches it. He's going to go for the slashes as it comes out from ZK. It's looking a little bit, a little dicey right now for ZK, but it's a zipping in, right? As long as you can see NiHQ look for the pressure, that's the connection that we love to see, the synergy, the level 2 swings, the strikes. She's at 1 HP. Now it's up to one player only. NiHQ finds that level 2 swing, and now it's up to him in the next couple of seconds to try to find Jing Yu here. The pole sword gets parried, an immediate reaction, and as NiHQ wins that out, we look into the live feed as Wolves takes their second Romyang with the currents of the previous win.
What a play coming on through from NiHQ. No surprises. Previously a player for XCG, one of the touted players coming on out, and we are going to see Wolves taking a free Realm of Yang because everyone else is scrapping over the Spirit Wall instead. GG with that Kylan ultimate going to be cleaving on through. Witch and teleport going to be forced. KLA abandoning ship. Tesla ultimate allowed them to have that free space to set the Wuchen up on stagger so he can get the full distance of that teleport. As GG will be picking up this Spirit Well and probably going to hunt down where that Wuchen team has teleported away from. They get their hands on Draco Storm, which is actually the buff that Wolves opted into picking on up. There is no punishment. Draco Storm does not refill your rage. However, they got the Realm of Yang for free, and as a result, they did not have to burn an ultimate to be able to pick this up. They're now going to be doing a lot of AoE cleave damage if they're able to take fights against some of these teams. They're first going to be going to a shop and picking up a couple of bits and pieces as we're going to have a look at a replay. Does someone die to a trap clip? Ooh! That Takeda F1 came so close to depositing them on the trap clip. It's going to be ASE's Xiao Wen with the charged LNB on the Fist Blades, able to find a huge kill. Tap dodges through to be able to get the Soul Bloom pickup as well, and just lets FPX's Sanzi die to corruption tick damage. What a play coming through from him. Doesn't even throw hands, just watches the life bleed out in front of him.
Had his opportunity of actually just getting that 9th elimination. And I was wondering about that. I was like, man, we lost to Kurumi, but now we're looking for this 9th elimination. What's going on here? Now, looking towards ZK, in terms of the Jade selection, trying to make sure in capturing this one, of course, one thing to also note is that I know we were mentioning about Draco Storm not replenishing rage. That this is the patch that we're looking at is 9.12. This is not the current season 14 patch, because Draco Storm in the future, let's talk about it for like a millisecond. That is going to be a frame 1 pick no matter what for teams, considering it now replenishes your rage bar completely 100%. So that's going to be where everyone's going to stand by. Luckily enough, we've been seeing Draco Storm taking the aggression for these past 2 rounds, this one included, to kind of looking to seeing how these teams are working off of it. Now, TE, on the other hand, they got the rainbow armor set. They got the blue, the purple, and the gold to be running through here and just rotating around into the outskirts of the zones. GG, though, still trying to find any sort of opponents here at a total of 7 eliminations. Taken into the works, right? They have Roger's grip on CGS, as he does have the gold weapon rarity. 3-3-0. He himself being the zipping and having to, rock one of the Jades of, Destiny, having a Soul Slash, even to the first Romyang, having that, Jade on standby, which also received the buff in season 14. Listen, there's a lot of things in season 14. Kind of can't wait to see how it ends up, but having that Jade alone also will be set up. Bowder, though, still into the IC villages up north. They have Cloud Weaver on you. So that's going to be an interesting play. Peak has Starfall. No player really use it, unfortunately. However, we are going to take a look and chance of seeing how they're going to rotate their, Viper Witch and Tessa. They've been doing phenomenal work. Not going to wood. As it comes through into this round, they have a surplus of weaponry to their disposal, and as well as just looking towards a rotation out towards Yushan Ruins. If they head into the Ice Shard Lake, that's where they're going to be meeting out towards Serpent's Pass as well, because that's where players are ending up now. The circle's now closing in here for the next 11 minutes, and now Wolves having their opportunity of the Valiant Challenger just being primary targets on the field could be looked and spotted and hunted down. Otherwise, it's a killing Z comp. Teams would want to take the aggression. They could want to wait it out, looking to see who else is in the outskirts before they take the decision themselves of being aggressive on the forefront.
Oh, we could potentially get GG versus Wolves, which would be a brilliant third-party opportunity for Bowder if they're able to kite their way to where the action is going. Looks, however, like GG are going to keep moving. As you pointed out, Wolves do have that Valiant Challenge scroll, so GG do know that the team is here. And Wolves are trying to incite it. You can see ZK just getting closer and closer and closer, trying to force GG to making a move, as Bowder do indeed show up for that third-party potential. We've also got JDG waiting in the sidelines to see if they can get a piece of the pie if something does start to kick on off. Seems, however, that because of the Valiant Challenger scroll, no one really wants to take that challenge. No one wants to accept the gauntlet that Wolves has thrown down. They've got 2 sets of legendary weapons already because they were able to find those 2 Ram of Yanks, 1 contested, 1 for free. As in the meantime, it is going to be T and DRG. A lot of these teams as well, you have to remember, thinking that there's going to be a fight because of a potential Yang depletion team, but we don't actually have any teams afflicted with Yang depletion currently. And as a result, what should normally be a third-party opportunity has actually been a closed-off fight entirely. No one has that Yang depletion. No one has that timer where they have to pick up a Soul Bloom off of a body or they get knocked out of the lobby. And we're seeing the lull that it brings it back into. This is very traditional 2021-2022 Naraka Trios timing, where before we had the Realm of Yanks, we had this lull phase that everyone would swap to things like the cannon and just chip down resources, since all of these players has been brought into spaces that have already been looted through, and we're seeing that the Vitalia and the shield resets are lacking in comparison to at the start of the game when there are so many resources that are available. That is, you gonna be showcasing Aurora Burst. That's going to be making a very large return when Spirit Wall Contest starts to come on through. The silence and the area that Aurora Burst covers makes it one of the best soul jades of being able to lock those particular spaces down. And a lot of the time when that is in play, we see teams just give up the Spirit Well Contest entirely. However, that's only going to happen if it's Mystic Might. If it's White Tigers, you better believe that things are going to be getting incredibly oogly. So even with Aurora Burst on the field, no one's giving that buff away for free.
Yeah, no, Wolves also having ZK. I was going to make mention through Dreadful Whale on ZK. And ZK going to be rocking that buff or rocking that Jade as well as lockdown. And if it comes down to locking down Spearwell, no range shots can come through. If teams try to sneak themselves in there, try to go ahead and contest it. Now, of course, Wolves head into the shop. They're going to try to opt in for a HEPA detach onto the XCM. So that's huge. That's going to be a huge surplus of control. Hoping to kind of see if that's going to be an option for them to give to a teammate who has a longsword. Otherwise, it's going to be up to the team to try to find that weapon when it does show up onto the field to play with a purple rarity or higher and just making sure to lock that one down. Now, 7 eliminations for GG. Going to have that gold spirit, just going to be spamming RMBs, kind of hope to see whether or not CGS will find an erudition sometime soon, because this man is releasing them as often as possible. Cannon shots coming out here. There's going to be the gold weapons. Everyone's going to be looking for the snag. There's going to be the assassination coming in from the Viper, Wuchen Tess, as ever comes down. CGS takes a teleporter by not be enough time. He's going to fall here. And of course, there's going to be him catching a nice last second wall scale rush grab and looking to try to get himself top ground, but then 3-3-0 in the background. He is not having a good time here. He's going to get eliminated as about as Peak hits the elimination here in KLA, looking to try to snag out, looking for the gear, but then there you can see QGG gets immediately deleted as Zing gets a kill with a cannon shot, and the Keelan ultimate guard comes out. GG crumble. And this is going to be where the LXM ultimate comes out for the second time. He goes ahead, he's throwing the ultimate. CGS just trying to go for some reset, trying to back off here as LXM takes a chance of using the teleporter, goes straight to canceling the ultimate. This is going to be an absolute travesty that happened to GG. And everyone's looting up the body like it's piranhas in the Amazon River.
Yeah, and they have to give it up. There was no way they were going to be able to find the revive onto 3-3-0. Maybe if they had the Kurumi Teva, but unfortunately, they don't. And that is what happens. That is what you have to be so very careful about. Those Viper, Tesla, Wuchang compositions, they might not be the greatest for being able to hold the space down for Spirit Well, but as soon as that bubble pops, so too, a lot of the time does the team trying to hold on to it because of that third party. GG also still going to be caught out by Bowder's team. You coming on through with that Aurora burst silence catching onto so many players. And as a result, no one wants to really try and jump onto these players that Bowder are getting low. No one can third party because they're so scared about that silence effect coming through and them being the team that everyone else turns on to in the lobby. And now we see that dreadful whale. You said keep an eye for it. It's not for the Spirit Well contest, but Wolves are going to be able to lock the kill down onto DRG's Kakashi. Gem, unfortunately, goes into one hit off the Bane's Breath, is a little bit too low. Wolves going to be setting up that Hardy escape just in case, and he does have to utilize it. Goes for the airwalk, coming on through. Just tries to make sure that he doesn't get picked out by these players who understand quite how low that Bane's Breath sent that Kyle and JDG with all of the ranged pressure, just trying to break some of these resources from the teams around them before everyone gets closed on up into the melee. They've been able to chase Bowder off so they can loot for some of the bodies. I believe this is some of the players from GG that got left behind us. As we've talked about, resources in this area are going to be incredibly scarce, which is another reason why those Spirit Wells are as prized as they are at this point in the match. Bowder very much setting up for an assassination play. On to the next one. TE going to be allowed center stage currently, but we've seen that that is only temporary as Wolves now come on through with all of the Soul Jades. Both sets of legendaries on the Katana held for Gem, as well as that Dreadful Whale coming on through from DK. As we're going to see Bowder attempt to hold on to the space and stop Wolves from being able to pick this one up for free. Dome is still going to be in play. JDG, as a result, going to have to come out into the Dome to be able to utilize those cannon shots and put pressure. Tesla ultimate does connect onto XEM, who's now going to be put under the pressure. Utilizes that Kylan ultimate to get that little bit of sustained proc from coming on through. Merciless Havoc going to be covering him as well, so that Wolves are going to be able to pick that one up. Kylan not going to be punishing for pop that ultimate since his team were able to pick up the buff. Now he gets 2 on the field and gets to turn on to Bowder. Yu's going to utilize that V1 to tank all of the aggression that Wolves is showcasing that way. And as a result, Gem is going to be utilizing that Hardy Cube to get away and find the reset before re-engaging. Comes on through with that Katana, sends the Viper packing. Bowder having to utilize the Witch and Teleport right at the top of the tree. That's going to immediately dethrone JDG from where they were poached on up there. They have to give up that space as Bowder fall directly on top of them. Peak now without that ultimate, going to be playing it a little bit scarce as Wolves with the second Kylan V2. You're still getting to clear up the lobby. If you're on the low ground, you're getting cleft down by the dashes. You're getting extended off of onto by the Merciless Havoc as Wolves absolutely running rampant. Tesla ultimate now comes on out from KLA. Will connect onto the Kylan. Gem puts himself into the sky so that their 3-second enchantment window is going to wear off before they can find any form of follow-up to be able to take him down. But CXE with that pulse sword is gatekeeping him into the zone. Has to go for the double tap dodge to get the way through, but does fall to TE. But here comes Bowder. Late, last minute Viper V1 looking to shut everybody down. Wash with the dashes will be able to iframe the stun out. Now has to worry about the second Viper ultimate from JDG though.
Careful moments here. Watch takes his whole enchant and his teammates right next to him. That's a free set. But Leo, the protector, make sure all the blue focuses are spent out here, dog, because this is going to be where the final circle ends up. Now, Watch takes the time to reset, has F1 ready to go. RMB's released. ZK, though, he's still running into the tree line. RMB's coming out from Jane. The Tessa enchant is good for 14. Now it's up to Watch to defend his team. They have the detach reveal with the blue focus. Now going to be up the ace up his sleeve to be into the lobby's hands, and they looking towards it. There's going to be a bow shot. 14 has to take the Hottie teleporter. Leo's still in the offensive state as a Hottie ultimate, and that's going to be a chance chance for Watch to take the teleporter himself, looking to try to worry about whether or not a tested champ might be coming from the backline. Takes the Clink to the sky as Watch is keeping the high ground on this one tree inside of the Altar Tranquility. You can see JDG holding the ground level floor, releasing the R&B Blues as it comes out for the spear. That's going to be a huge chunk of damage. F1 still available for TUSEC though. Here it goes. Seeing the Hepa detach get revealed here. There's going to be a testing chant good to go from Peak, but there's going to be the Dragon Slayer be delayed out. And now the combo breaker from Peak comes out for himself to throw out a Dragon Slayer double parry from Peak. Not going to be able to have any sort of AoE attack, and instead decides to reposition. As you can see, TE takes a full focus value out of JDG's hands. 7 eliminations, looking for number 8, and there's the other R&B spam. You can see the denial for that Hepa detach comes out. The Keelan ultimate is up. There's going to be the Invincible Guard coming through. He slashes again and again. TUSEC catches himself a time to heal once before, but TE Wash doesn't have as much of a zone capture potential to try to go for kills here unless he just goes ahead and spams out. The Wu Chen port comes through. If they're at 80% of their HP more, they're going to have an attack buff. They're going to go on a full aggression route. TE Leo looking to try to swipe into the sky, try to catch any sort of knockbacks as he can to the high ground. He sees bounce below. He sees a V3 Viper coming in here, gets as high as possible, sets up the teleporter, goes right down below, gets caught with a stagger. No, he uses that tree line. He catches a triple hit. He gets caught by the test enchant. He's got a teleporter ready to go. So the moment he takes an enchant here coming through here, there's going to be a chance for Jing to get eliminated from the arm from the swing. The Soul Boom pick up from the play as TE Leo takes his chance of R&B, and the teleporter is still available for him to get the high ground. There it is. Peak is going to be looking to the low ground, has F1, no ultimate, ready to go ahead and lock down anyone in the sky. ZK catches the grapple stagger off to the top side, seeing that bulb on the ground, goes and drops right down below. TE Leo goes down. Battle Peak has himself to catch one last test enchant to confirm the kill against Kiki, and now Battle Peak and ZK might be looking for themselves that solo essence, but that parry like that. Peak comes out for the team. Bauda catches the MVP for this game.
Not only did they catch the MVP, but I believe they got 16 kills and last player standing. So that is going to be a hefty chunk of points picked up for the side of Bauda with a composition that was not really built to be able to live that mid-game. The fact that Bauda with the Viper test from Wuchen were able to find as much value as they did when we had so many of these teams running things like the Cardi composition, the sack maps. Yeah, OUG, they know that with this composition, they have to take their time. GG and Wolves not going to be taking their time. GG, this is their staple drop point in. Morris comes on through with that Zai, gets the F3, looking for the connection onto Jam. They've already been able to pick themselves up Fireflies for their Matari to start getting that siphon of damage done. However, CJS is going to fall. The Zai was not able to pick up the Fireflies, and as a result did not have a weapon when things kicked off. Wolves going to be losing Gem. However, LXM and 330 able to turn the tides and pick up the hyper carriers. JDG and ASE now going head to head. We are going to see Jiang Dong come through with that huge chunk of damage of the Viper. F3 Bauda waiting in the wings for that third party potential. Jiang Dong still holds on to the full meter dump of these nunchucks if he wants to utilize it. Sees the Hardy utilize that combo break, goes for the parry, finds it onto JDG's 2-tick. Bauda now stepping up to the plate to look for this third party. ASE having found the kills that they've wanted, going to be starting to split off into the more open areas of the map. As Bauda going to be keeping chase, the charged R&B scooping the Tessa back in. Zhao Wen incredibly low, gets the ultimate activation to lead it into Jiangzong with the Viper V1, catches onto so many players on the side of Bauda. Peak looking to get away by utilizing the tree. LOS break isn't able to do so and needs the full hit of the meter dump coming out from the blue rarity. Nunchucks will be finished off by that F3 towards the tail end as here comes JDG. They full reset and they're back into the mix to punish onto ASE.
Now it's going to be a chance here to see Jiangnan doing a lot of work for the team. I'll be 100% honest. This Viper gameplay is going ballistic. Jiangnan going to have a chance of using the F3. The Keelan guard is going to be burned out. He's going to go for the slashes, and this immunity guard gives him unlimited slashes. And there's TUSEC getting the last hit confirmation. The Tessa enchant still in play, looking for the Tessa enchant, is not going to be using the time to do so. He's going to take the teleporter instead. As you can see, ASC taking Jing's parry into mine. Zhao Wen's going to go down for ASC, and now JDG just cleaning up shop here. The circumstances were going to be leading out, but another parry though. Moran catches it. The F1 combo breaker comes out from TUSEC, and now the lineup with the R&B from the backside. Another parry. Yo, ASC has a lot of parries today, and this game is going to be coming through the case, but with that Wu Chen port not coming out in time. Bauda coming through for the invasion as JDG TUSEC is at 1 HP, and the F3 from Yaron is looking with murder goggles, as you like to say. It looks like he is just trying to chase this one out. Has a bow shot.
This is a run back. Sir, this is a salty run back from Bauda.
They love it. They love to take the salty runbacks. You know what? 2-6 takes the armor swap, and I think right now you're wrong. Just read it like a book. F1 investment takes the swap, but not going to be using the purple weapon just yet. Takes another parry. I gotta be honest. There's a lot of parries happening today. Everyone's on their parry game. What's all the counter strikes at the end of the game?
Well, OUG, with this Tianhai Valda composition having already unfortunately lost their Valda, the Nezhas into follow-up charged R&B on that staff. Synergy from WX98 and Kakaichi absolutely on point. They're going to lose, unfortunately, OUG without the ultimates in play because of fighting inside that Forbidden Seal. Not able to utilize any of the health resets that the Valda or the Tianhai ultimate would have provided them, as it's going to be Zone and TE going head-to-head. Siphon composition, Rosemary doesn't have that Zai V2 fully charged up just yet. Sees TE's loadout, sees that first hint of purple armor and thinks twice about potentially going for this one. Wash, however, comes on through with their Zai V2, trying to put the pressure onto that Zip, forcing out that ultimate incredibly early on. The burning proc is going to make it so much harder for the Zips team to live through all of the sustain that provides. Rosemary now gets their own Zai V2 online. Kurumi on the circle comes into play. Wash with another cast of that F3 will be able to find the reset, but Rosemary with the scoops, able to grab so many of these players into one spot. Wash does manage to return fire onto Rosemary, has to dodge through the hit of Blistering Edge coming out on that Pole Sword, as we're going to see out of the Zai ultimate. The fire tick proc still making it harder for these supports to keep their players up and alive. Zone came prepared, able to find another parry. Like you said, we're seeing so many of these parries from all of these players. It very much feels like everyone's been practicing that parry game in anticipation of Season 14 and the back parry coming into play.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait until Matari's V2 is like, huh? You know, and nothing can be stopping. And having SS1 taken into the starter area for Morrisau is kind of funny, but this is also a last stand and making their arrival over here. So having the 3 eliminations there to be gained is going to be good value. Now KLA, QGG taking his time in the Hottie teleporter. Not going to be placing it just yet. It has Moonbane as well. Takes the teleporter now, halfway to the point. Not going to cancel out the ultimate. The Matari is doing too much pressure here. The teleport almost got himself out. He takes the teleporter himself with the lever. Now it's up to him to look for a heal off and hopefully try to throw a Moonbane here. The pressure is needed. It takes the bell hit to make sure there is no vision from Bauda to try to look for the enemy in terms of the back line. As QGG makes sure he arrives back in. He goes for one last swipe, goes for one hit, goes for the F2 as it seems to come through from Bauda's peak. Gets himself back towards his team. A Moonbane can be casted from QGG right now. He's spacing away. This is going to be a huge Moonbane, with the lockdown has to be coming out from CXZ as the Keelan ultimate is going in the back and forth. And now it's going to be the corner with the fence line. They can look for the lockdown. Bauda, though, takes the time to reinitiate an escape pattern. 7 grapples on Yaron. Goes for ultimate cast for the Zai and has himself to throw the ensnared behind the tree line. His F3 is still going to be available as an escape tactic, but the Moonbane now being the fuse in terms of spacing out gives at least enough time to see whether or not KLA wants to go for full reset for round 2, or we're looking for the chase. Now, like I mentioned, 7 grapples. So otherwise, whether or not we're going to look for the chase, KLA has to take that in consideration with supplies from the enemy opponents. But over towards into the desert lines, we're going to see Wolves and ZK taking the chances of burning out the Hottie teleporter coming in from DRG, as Kakaxi's going to drop right back down, and the teleporter is going to be down. For whether or not he's going to be having that ultimate ready up, he's at 75% already. So now there's a parry. There's a double parry. Oh my goodness, so many today, folks. And there's another parry coming out back and forth over and over into the zone. We're looking to connect this R&Bs into the Keelan ultimate. ZK has that ZK ultimate on the through, has Fearon's 2 cast. They're going to be in an available status, but you can see how much blood is being into the water right now. DRG are throwing this out. The teleporter is used again. Now ZK may not have enough value here for the Fearons, except for the Nile Cab Bloom coming in from Kakaxi. It's a little bit more pressure that he's looking for, so he looks for the F1 usage. The Bedrick has sent the connection with the fans is going to be coming out again for double R&Bs. The teleporter is taken for the second time, the third time it feels like, as ZK goes to the down for Wolves and IHQ, gets caught to a parry, and now ZK goes through with his team. DRG coming back through with 5 eliminations, looking for number 6 as XCM gets caught by another parry, and this is going to be DRG's victory into this fight in the zone.
Oh, that Cap Flume. Parry into Cap Flume expansion was so clean, as off into Shipwreck. KLA taking a fight against Bida already down some of their players. Actually, this is not Shipwreck. That was not Shipwreck. The rocks always confuse me on this one. This is East of Sunwings, as we are going to be seeing KLA CXZ with that Kylan ultimate, trying to catch on to these last remaining players of Bowder. Peak incredibly low, just trying to use the trees to break away from where this Kylan is looking to dash. Is on them. Matari could potentially break away. Unfortunately, Matari doesn't have a combo breaker, so he's going to have to utilize scale rushing around the building to try to break on off. Yuran now with that Zai V2. This is Bowder down their revives. Remember, they salty ran it back all the way at the beginning, and it is now coming back and costing them. As Iran will fall, he cannot run any further. KLA clean Bowder off of the board. In the meantime, JDG and GG are going to be going head-to-head inside the realm of Yang. Karumi variant of the Xiphon coming on through as we're going to be following CJS, the first F3 hit. Not going to be able to find a connection, trying to put pressure on the Kylan, on this Cardi composition that they're going to be up against. Very early Matari ultimate going to get casted so that he gets another F3 reset to put pressure. That's going to be the Hardy Cube and reset glider force now from the Kylan. And CGS is going to keep up the pressure, not allowing Tutik to find any form of turnaround with those cleaves. The ultimate comes on through for both the Zai and the Kylan, and unfortunately for CGS, he's getting interrupted before he can hit into the golden frame state focus of his ultimate by the Kylan. Dashes, Karumi V2 comes into play. CGS gets to sit right in the middle of it to keep his armor fully healed up. Tutik with another dash through is going to be able to upset the apple cart of the Zai, but the V2 is still burning strong, and CJS gets the turnaround onto JDG's Jing. In the meantime, GG have been able to weather the storm with the rest of JDG's players, and they're able to come out on top. We talked about the Cardi composition struggling into the Xiphon because of that fire tick proc, just making it so much harder for the Zip to keep everyone topped up in comparison to the Karumi. And GG just showed a textbook of why Karumi is stronger than Zip in current meta.
Yeah, CJ has got a significant burn proc, denying that bulb coming out here for the heal off, but Alliance having a good chance of just looking to burn all their ultimates now, because considering they have Vermilion Bird's Mind, they're going to try to go ahead and contest this Viper Stun. Xiaohu gets it, or Junex, I should say. He's going to get that Dragon Slayer denied with the Fear and Blast, and there's going to be armor from the Spear. Going to go for another Fear in there. There's going to be 2 left. Revenge with the free dodges in the background. He's going to be going ahead and just relining for a soul and pickup, and that's going to be the case. The Vermilions is still in effect, though, so if any of the teammates go down from Alliance, they can just go ahead and reposition. But there's a Test Enchant, nicely done from Sanzi. Draco Storm in play here, and looking to just try to get caught by that Somersault. A nice reset here, but the chance going to be occurring on ground level duty. Gets caught by the R&B. There's going to be the Blender for a little bit of time here. Junex looking to try to lock him through with the R&B. And the Draco Storm is a little bit more of a position that Alliance was not really looking to contest, but it had to have been done. Draco Storm gets avoided there, but Revenge takes those R&Bs. There's going to be going 2 down. FPX Junex trying to go ahead and get the elimination as soon as possible to get Zhao Hu back into play. Now, this is a Wu Chen. Third party comes in here. KLA, CXZ gets it. The ultimate for the second time for Junex coming into full value as CXZ gets his tree, his best friend. And now he's going to be rolling out. He's going to be looking to use the fist blades and looking to try to charge up the horizontals. Goes for the pelvic thrust. F3 to try to push back 17S. Blue armor. He takes it. When Perry comes out, Dragon Slayer is anticipated. An immediate deletion coming in from KLA as Junex goes down. And now it's going to be up to 1 teammate left for that for the Tessa as she tries to base around here. SS1, though, lurking around in the tree line towards the Islet Crater right now. So whether or not they're going to be chancing upon looking for an invasion, it's going to be a good ambush, but 7 eliminations right now for KLA. They got purple armor, they got purple weapons, they're set, they're stacked. Now it's up to SS1 to try to work out of that remaining depletion and hoping to get their kills back.
Yeah, SS1, like you said, with that Yang depletion affliction, going to be forced to take a fight. They've got 2 minutes try to lock down KLA. Good news for them is they're not up against the Wu Chen team, so if they do manage to start coming out on top of this fight, they're not going to be able to teleport away. Rosemary with an early hit of the F3 tries to get that fire proc to start melting through the effectiveness of that Zip utility Matari ultimate off of Gen 1, going to immediately allow that F3 reset to come fully on out. As the kite now begins, the Hardy popped that cube to allow everyone on the side of KLA to try to break away, but Rosemary has been able to track down QGG, who goes off into the tree, trying to kite zone for as long as possible to give the rest of his teammates a chance of making it out alive. We are going to see, unfortunately, Tutu having to utilize that zipping ultimate. It's not going to be able to save Gen 1, who has gone down on the Matari through, but KLA in absolutely no state of being able to take advantage. They know that teams with Yang Depletion are going to be out hunting to either try and take a fight and grab a Soul Bloom, or teams without Yang Depletion are going to be looking for the third party, like Alliance, who just showed up, and everyone is going to be hiding in the hopes of going unspotted because of this. JDG and FPX now going out all the way into that corruption damage. Tutik hunting down, has caught wind of these players of FPX, sees the split coming on through, takes a moment to be able to fully on heal. Did they spot Sanzi, or was he able to lose them by crouching into that bush? We'll have to wait and see. As OUG now entering in, they have a minute left on their Yang Depletion. They do have all of their ultimates available. F1 from the King comes on through. Now we're going to see the Tianhai ultimate come on out. Can he find the grabs to be able to set this composition into play? Rico, no choice, has to go for the Farrier V3 and drop immediately in, because if OUG don't find these kills right here, right now, they get knocked out of this lobby regardless. Unfortunately, there's no coverage. There's no healing for the King on the Tianhai, and he goes down to the pressure coming out from JDG. The Valda V2 will be able to pick up 2 players from JDG into the Spears, and Tutik will go down. Rico still in that Farrier V3, having to hold on to the ultimate for as long as he possibly can. Now drops out of the mix to be able to pick up one of those Soul Blooms. Valda V2, last Spear going to be utilized to grab onto these last players from JDG, but Jing, with that Hardy ultimate, just has to kite a little bit longer, deny the kills to stop OUG from picking up that Soul Bloom, and he's home free. The combo break gets used by the Hardy. He tries to break away. He goes for the bait and switch and throws out the focus strike. He gets the parry. He goes down, but OUG are able to pick up the Soul Bloom in time. They might even have a rebirth charm they can pick up from the shop. They're right next to a Soul Altar to buy the Tianhai back, and OUG might potentially have found the turnaround. The problem, Serve, is that they're so far out of the zone, and even if they live the entire zone kite, there's another team waiting to hold them even longer by the side of FPX.
That's crazy how the turnaround came through. FPX was looking for reses initially after the purchases from Junex, and then they get chased. They get disintegrated into the zone going south. Now we're into the Romy Yang. TE watch, Gold Staff has himself no Zai ultimate, has F3 though. He's going to go straight WQ in here as TE Leo loses out all his armor. Now he's going to have to force Kurumi ultimate most likely. There is going to be the case scenario. Now Keelan's coming out here from what seems to be with a blistering edge. So you know the connections are going to be immaculate coming in here from DRG. Now of course there's going to be the Zipping ultimate. Now TE Leo still having a chance of using that recast of the ultimate. You're going to see watch going for the F3 as the Matari ultimate comes out. We got Zai ultimate coming in a couple of seconds here. You can see the pressure coming in from the Keelan to try to deny every single one of these guys. The blistering edge is going to keep it going. 14 gets almost caught the elimination standard, but the blistering edge goes out towards Watch's way, having a 3 again after the casting of the ultimate. Watch to get caught by that Hottie slashes, and now it's going to be the case. DRG just getting a sweeping kill spread, and that's going to be 9 eliminations that they take into Romy Yang for number 2. Now DRG taken into this position. You can see Alliance actually won their Romy Yang. They're going to have a Mystic Might on a standby, having gold dual halberds in the play for these teams, so that's going to be a good stance. Whether or not they're going to be working in the Draco Storm, I mean, it's going to be option selection for White Tiger's prowess now. If it's going to for ult regen, they're going to go for that net, for the safety net of that. Focus slide actually on Dongqing as well. So Dongqing having focus slide, Sap Jade on Kakaxi, and a slew of range shades coming in from Wuxia 98. So this team, they're kind of going to take this into the spread that they have right now to just go straight north, but over towards the Shipwreck Expanse. You're going to see Alliance taking that Mystic Might to its value as they're taking the fight outside of the Romy Yang. KLA are going to be their opponents, and the Merciless Havoc reveal is going to be coming out for the turnaround, potentially for one of these teams.
Yeah, but Revenge is just getting pinballed around by that Kylan ultimate. Alliance with that Mystic Might do have the damage reduction on their side, as well as that Decatur ultimate still online. 2 more shoves to Revenge's name, make that one, making sure to peel for his support players into the Tumult ultimate. Does he kite them? And it is going to be a full disengage attempt coming in from KLA. Revenge now with the proc of that F1, going to have to deal with the aggression coming through from the Hardy, but CXZ with that Kylan stays a little bit later before receiving that Hardy cube to reposition and tries to kite Alliance, splitting them into running in two separate directions so that KLA can have all of their players survive a little bit longer, as well as potentially run Alliance numbers disadvantage into a full squad, which is exactly what you need to do in these situations. It's the only thing that is going to make Alliance back on off of a free kill that they know that they can go for. 17S, unfortunately for KLA, will go down, but QGG and his Kylan will be able to live a little bit longer, which is massive for Alliance, or rather KLA, given the fact that they are currently on 7 kills. They need to be able to live a little bit longer, as even down that zip, as long as they have Hardy or Kylan, when that zone closes on up, they can still walk away with the MVP, especially if they're able to get their hands on a Rebuff Charm and bring their zip back. They're going to have to be careful, though, because we are seeing the teams with Yang Depletion now make their way to those Soul Altars, respawn into the map, and try to figure out some fight locations that they can take against some of these players. And it looks like TE might have been able to track down KLA. The bounty scroll pickup is going to be the nail in the coffin that gives KLA's location away, and CXZ is going to have to grapple like he's possessed to get away from the free players of TE bearing down upon him. Into Shipwreck he's gonna go, make sure that he can get his hands onto that Soul Altar as quickly as he possibly can, but unfortunately for him, if he brings one of his players back, TE is going to be directly on top of him, and he's just having to keep moving. Watch now utilizing that Zai F3 to close up the distance closer and closer. TE are getting, but crucially, they're running out of grapples. KLA, though, have done what they've needed to do. They ran TE into FPX, and TE, with 2 minutes left on the Yang Depletion, have no choice but to turn onto the team in front of them and let KLA break off into the horizon, giving KLA the option, an opportunity to go to that solo to grab their third player back and potentially third party the fight that T is going to be forced to take against FPX instead.
Wash is washing away all those grapples. He's now at 0 count. Now taking the chase over to the Windmill Gorge. You're gonna see Wash having himself to just take this fight by hands and using his ultimate to get another F3 cast. Now he's gonna capture out Sanzi. Sanzi has F1 available for the Tesla, so now it's up to him to burn out that Foxfire effect or time alone. Wu-Chang Port comes out in clutch right now for TE. They had to look for the Beacon of Light, but guess what? It's inside of one of the broken ships in Shipwreck, and that's a huge structure for them to kind of lock out and looking around, especially with the ravine play with the cliff sides and having so much terrain against them in their favor. Minute and 10
they're
seconds
gonna lose
right
the
now. 70
too.
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna
so
be
unfortunate.
They got F3 if they can look for a Tri-Fit Junction fight, considering they still have the bounty score on CXC. The only problem is Council Courtyard also has ASC hiding somewhere around southbound. I saw that. I saw them hiding out. They got 6 eliminations. They're playing for endgame, making sure they can kind of work out. They got the gear necessary. That's going to be the case. KLA taking out the salute quest as it comes through. And CXZ still the bounty scroll. We got what, 45 seconds left for that Roman depletion? Yeah. And that's going to be where TE is going to be still trying to look for the hunt down. But of course, Draco Storm, I think, not Draco Storm, KLA 17S in the background. Alliance is over to the west side. You're going to see the whole lockdown here from ASC. Draco Storm, actually Draco Storm. ASC actually had the Jade ready, or had the buff ready to go here. And looking to try to get Leo out of the game. As Leo's losing the Kurumi ultimate. The sustain right now, losing out on the Zai not being here for the fight is kind of a tough spot. TE is going to be looking... They're just trying to survive out here as long as possible. And of course, Draco Storm proc hits, T Leo goes down. Now it's up to CN14 looking to throw out as many horizontals, and he gets
third party.
Hopeful to see, because KLA has himself to get their third back up to the game, and that's going to be a rush down from Alliance on the left side. They see all this action. Now is going to be a chance for the Spear for gold weapon and gold armor. And if any of the teams look towards the Draco Storm party wielder, they're going to be looking to try to get this team out of the game as soon as possible, considering it's a Viper and Tessa.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing. 17S for KLA was actually right next to the action when ASC and TE were fighting and called to KLA that there is a fight going down. And you can see KLA's players have positioned accordingly to try and look for that third-party intrusion. If that fight went a little bit longer and ASC had to burn through some more of the resources, then they were happy to be parting with. Moonbane is going to come through and provide a nice distraction as well as a chunk of distance for ASE to put between themselves and all of these other teams as FPX, Alliance, and GG all show up. Spiritual is going to be on the board. FPX with that Viper test from Wuchen composition, as we talked about, struggles being able to hold down the space against some of the heroes that are more touted towards zoning ultimate and ability utilities, as we are going to see them immediately have to bend the knee. DRG showcases their interest, and every Viper Tesla Wuchen just has to back on off. Blistering Edge on that pole sword, as well as Cavalry Bloom coming on into the clutch for Kakaishi on that hardy WX-98 with the cannon shots, just making sure that no one can actually enter into this dome and put damage onto the side of DRG for when it pops. GG waiting for that opportunity, might decide to make a late game play to grab some of the lead, and there it is. Tessa ultimate the second that the dome pops. DRG having to break away as far from everyone as they possibly can so that they don't get punished for getting hit into by that. WX-98 does lose a massive chunk of his armor by way of the repeating crossbows, but he is going to get his zip utility to get healed fully on up, and DRG are able to smash and grab the loot upgrades. That was not the Spirit Well with the buff, so everyone is still very much going to be holding on to those resources, holding on to those ultimates for when that comes into play. Right now, it's about looking to see if you can take advantage of any of these teams out of position of a fight that kicks up from these teams having to put pressure on the players around them, so everyone turns on to them instead, so that everyone else in these areas can shark in and try and find that third-party opportunity. GG going to be taking a little bit of a lull opportunity to put themselves onto a Rift Dealers and pick up some resources, as I believe that graphic serve means that White Tigers is going to be in the next Spirit Well. So all hands on deck. There is going to be blood in the water, and a lot of these teams are going to get caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and then taking in White Tiger's prowess, there's also that Merciless Havoc that we keep in mind about. Pride's Falls now in the mix, and having to see if whether or not the teams are going to be wanting to contest that. I mean, we saw Stanchion earlier in round one and how well the versatility of that Jade, or with that Jade being used into White Tigers, comes out to deny pressure. So if the teams really want to try to deny that, it's going to be up to them. FBX do next. He's by his lonesome. Sansi and Xiao here are down for the count, so now it's up to him to try to survive the game as a Viper. It's like we're getting deja vu for round one. But KLA, QGG, no armor. Taking some time to reset. There it is. DRG Kakashi looking to try to go for the resets here as Wuchen98 goes to his own stead, and it's going to be cannon shots between cannon shots. Now the Violent Challengers to the west side. That's going to be coming out here from ASE, as they're going to be the ones that are wielding out that buff, just to get vision across every single one of the players. But knowing where the center mass is knowing where a player is exactly. So that's where all the other players are going to have vision into that stead. Now, F1 bulb getting thrown out here. You can see the separation. The tree line is going to be a huge advantage coming out from teams. 6 eliminations for Alliance. There's a Merciless Havoc coming out and just throwing out staff moves left and right. That's going to be a purple staff given towards the Merciless Havoc wielder, but Revenge wielding out the gold staff. Going to be a huge option selection here as Revenge going to go ahead and throw out these stanchion smikes and try to go for the gold focus. F1 comes out from Alliance's Yuma trying to go for the chance of using his pole sword, denying entry. Now they take residency and towards the Spear Well, and now they're going to be proccing their ultimates, and now they're going to be trying to go in for the full invest, but they haven't even cleared their Spear Well yet, and now it's going to be a chance for them to pick it up here as long as no teams are inside the circle. And there it is. Alliance finds himself the White Tiger's prowess. Now the denial from KLA 17S, that Dragon War forces the Fear and Blast in the opposite direction. Revenge having to go ahead, having jabbing available as well as one of the Jades. F1 is invested for Revenge, has his Takeda Fear and ultimate still available. We're still denying range shots. And Alliance has himself 6 eliminations, just trying to farm out here. We got a total of 12 opponents for Alliance to look towards and just trying to farm out in a chain succession. The pathing is going to be very difficult considering how much terrain comes out into the advantage of all these players. Like I mentioned, the tree line, the buildings, they have not enough spacing between each other to kind of scale rush off of and create that spotting. ASC are hiding in the tree lines, just trying to make sure they don't get spotted. They are a Viper Witch and Tessa team that is going to be contested with, and Moran has an Aurora Burst to be revealed here. Now into the final 3.5 minutes. Gonna see Yuma trying to charging up the Blistering Edge because Moxie, the releases are gonna come back here back and forth until somebody gets parried.
Yep, Alliance with that Blustering Edge, forcing ASE into that corruption damage. ASE Xiangdong having to rotate the full team into the open, has to utilize that Viper V1 to clear up the space, but the second that Viper ultimate is gone, ASE are going to be vulnerable. The Witch and Teleport now going to be forced. ASE slowly burning through all of their resources, and it's going to be noticed by every single team in this lobby. DRG on top of it, trying to find that punishment, as our Alliance Revenge going to throw the jab and gets parried, so loses that legendary staff, will not be able to utilize that soldier. It swaps over to the fist blades instead. There's the first kill on the board for Alliance. The shockwave reverberating through the entire rest of the lobby. ASE's Meringue comes on through with the Ouroboros, will be able to find the catch onto Revenge, who has been able to, with that kill, pick his hands onto his legendary staff yet again. Furenchef sent into KLA CXE, who is open in the middle of that field. Alliance now getting pressured onto by some of these players. Going to utilize that Kurumi V2 so that they can keep themselves in their position secure, going through the bodies that they dropped on the side of ASE to shore up on some of those resources, fix the cannon, fix the staff, throw out the Merciless Havoc, and come on for rebuilding all of their ultimates. But Revenge again gets parried in the cast of jabbing. His team are going to cover him with that Blistering Edge throw out to put pressure onto the Tessa. Xiao Wen from ASC drops down to grief with the Tessa V1, knowing that Alliance with the Sand Siphon composition are the ones with White Tigers, needs to keep the Sand Siphon composition from picking up these kills and shockwaving the rest of the lobby. As a result, there is no other Sand Siphon composition on the board, so everybody knows who currently has the buff, who to position away from Revenge. Gets the Kurumi tab and throws out the charged RMB, but eats the full hit of the meter dump into the Blistering Edge follow-up coming out from GG. Decatur ultimate knockback having to be invested to keep Revenge alive. The Furenchef's going to be extended as well, but he still goes down. GG LXM with the hero dash through on that Matari is able to find the kill, and Alliance loses a lot of the teeth to their composition. Decatur cannot go forward aggressively, cannot peel for his players. They're going to have to play the long con now and hope that the Kurumi Teva can bring that Takeda back unnoticed as NY7 greets the Teva, tries to get the double uptime by tapping onto the body, throws out the Kurumi on the circle so that Revenge gets that full replenishment of the purple armor to proc as he gets brought back up. GG were not able to take the Takeda down, but they can keep him in the zone. Zai V2 from CJS gatekeeps Alliance's players yet again, and GG are on absolute fire. CJS with that Kurumi F3 still gets the 50 healing per second as well as the 20% damage reduction. Alliance now going to be trying to make anything that they can work as the kills start to pop off. The shockwaves almost hitting every single player left, but they don't get the kill. GG are the ones coming through. A huge late ultimate from DRG's Kylan to dash through all of the players left is DRG's hand at trying to make a play for that MVP, but ASC Xiao Wen, the lone Tessa who lived through absolutely everything, is the last person standing. How the heck did a Tessa make it unnoticed that long?
Amazing plays coming out here from ASC, staying through thick and thin.
Really in line with what we see for Naraka Esports as a whole. In terms of it's getting closer to Jacob, a lot of these teams trying to find a new composition, which sets some of the other teams around them a little bit further back in terms of the practicing hours, as we're going to be seeing Wolves and DRG, one of these teams, going to be headed back to the Soul Altar early on, both dropping onto the outskirts of Matap. Dunquing coming on through with the pole sword on this side, tries to come in with the charged RMB, putting pressure onto Wolves. XEM WX98 in the meantime has been taken down as Dunquing is hit into by the stone form. Dragon Slayers into Nezhas. He's not ready for it, and Wolves are going to be able to take the fight win.
Yo, I think Wolves just did a level 3 greatsword horizontal swing from the top of the structure, so they drop down swinging. Now Wolves, 3 eliminations, ultimates on standby for Tessa. We're at 75% so far for Viper once they enter into the vicinity of the Meta Bell region, so whether or not they're going to the Temple of Light and Shadow, there's only 3 bells that can kind of look forward in terms of looking for opponents. TE already arriving towards the bottom floor. You have Leo on the top end. Now, Wolves takes an opportunity of looking towards one of these targets. Leo just letting behind himself in terms of by himself. He has
Wait, sir, that's not F3.
I know, as I mentioned, I was like, that's F1. So in case he does get caught out, he's got a combo breaker and he's using V1. Wait. Hold on. V1. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. This isn't the season 14 patch, folks. So he's using V1 preemptively. He's got the knowledge knowing that it's going to be more casts of the ensnared meter, the center meter versus V2. But I'm curious about how he's going to do it in terms of adjusting towards the next match. I'm curious.
I want to see them in a realm of Yang. I really want to see this team in a realm of Yang now to see how they use this lineup. Wolves XCM, though, with that Viper F3, finding that immediate chunk of damage onto the Zai. Tries to grapple away. Wolves have dropped a Moonbane directly on top of this fight. XCM's going to be holding them in position with this Viper V1 so that his teammates can set up the Dragon Slayers into Nezas yet again. And that is one of the problems that T is going to be running into. They do not have a disengagement tool, as it's going to be XCM getting to cycle back into that F3, connects it onto the Zip. 14 gets the ultimate to proc, but unfortunately that heal reduction on the F3 means it does absolutely nothing in the face of the charge vertical on that spear. And that is unfortunately TE overcooking in the kitchen. The ticket comes out and it's a little bit raw.
Yeah, F1 comes through, and that's the deletion from Wolves getting that set. I mean, listen, Wolves is stacked from the get-go anyhow, but at the same time, V1 Viper, Moonbane, the pressure was on onslaught between the folks. So TE still have a chance of living. Alliance, though, they see ASC's Youngdong is going to be getting out here once that disenchant. He takes the teleporter, though. Shout out to Xiao Wen, setting up the teleporter as a hottie, getting the team out, and now he's going to be taking the pressure and beating that frontliner. F3 is down for Knee 7, so whether or not he's going to use his chance to take the time to heal here and engage again with R&Bs, he's going to be looking to try to look for that backline and trying to see whether or not he can catch it. There's the F3, misses all targets in the play. Finds the parry, though. This is huge. Double targets in the play, but Keelan's going to go for that knockback with the ultimate cast. Now Knee7's going to have the ultimate to be set up, but try to lock down whether or not the hottie has the ultimate ready to go here. He's going to be the one soul in purpose and picking up the soul blooms for that reset for the ultimate, but of course finds one stun. It's going to be on the one target that you may not be thinking was going to get caught, and now it's going to be a focus down on Alliance's Knee7. Now, of course, Yuma is already in soul form after he comes out here, but one shot is all that's needed, and there it is. Musket shot from Xiao Wen. ASC, 3 eliminations so far. They got themselves not to be the kill leaders because Wolves is at 6, and guess what Wolves is about to do? We're going to be the biggest bomb coming through here as XEM just says, hey, how's it going? R&B releases, nothing going to be leaving anyone alive as Xiao Wen is the first to go down. Jiangdan goes for the F1 as the investor comes out, and the F3 goes down. There goes Maran. Wolves is at 8 eliminations, yo. This is going to be a solo pickup that XEM is picking up, and now he's going to find that last solo giving to Night HQ or even XEM again, because now he would be at 80%. You know what? Maybe this is Wolves' game.
They are the only team that have won a bi-weekly finals this season. This is very much Wolves this season. Like, that coach that they picked up from XCG before XCG disbanded has been doing work for this team. They were so improved in season 1, but they're looking even better, even more synergized in season 2. The fact that they used that Viper V1 and then they didn't even invest the F3 to be able to get the insta-hit of damage on the stunned players, because they understand that all 3 of their players are going to be able to collapse onto one person, and then they can utilize the F3 to catch onto the second player into the Tessa ultimate enchantment, and the Kylan just falls very swiftly afterwards, making it look so clean. It really is not that easy, but Wolves make it just look so easy. 3-2-1, entire team fight done. As, like you said, they're about to hit double digits. They're 1 away. And it's not even before we see the first realm of Yang spawn. We get aggressive Horror of Firefly games where these teams were on 11 kills before the second Yang. Never have we seen 9 kills before the first realm of Yang spawns. Wolves on absolute fire. They have understood that they need a really good pop-off game to make their way up those standings. They need to make sure that they can qualify into this next bi-weekly finals and defend their titles, and they are on the path for it. Is OUG going to be taking a little bit of downtime to lit up, could potentially be taking a fight against FPX. Going to have to be careful because JDG are going to be directly behind them, and if they're not too careful, if they take a fight against one of them, they're going to be caught odd one out in the middle and get turned onto by both of these teams. They've spotted FPX. FPX having made a rotation over towards Salvation Podium. As that was a legendary weapon in the hands of one of their players. I think it was the nunchucks.
Yeah.
As we are going to see JDG waiting on the outskirts. 10 seconds left on the Moonbane. Or rather, 30 seconds left on the Moonbane. Are they going to be able to cast it? Yes, they will be able to. Directly on top of FPX, who are going to see that massive AoE, see that there is a team looking to trap them down, and reposition to the outer edges of it, as we're going to see Zone going head-to-head with ASE. Gen 1 on that Hardy, setting up the text to make sure that everyone has a combo breaker to get on out. Rosemary, very thankful for that combo breaker, is going to be able to break away from the fight because of it. As we're going to see Jiang Dong now with that dagger, putting the pressure onto the Hardy, forcing the combo breaker from ASE's side this time around. As that comes through, both of those combo breakers invested. ASE going to reposition away from the fight and look to recover, but almost run directly into the middle of FPX as a result.
Yeah, the blunder might be occurring here. Rumyang still showing out and trying to separate the teams as ASE pushes in towards north of the Moonfall Pass. Yeah, we're doing break breakdancing. What's going on in Rosemary? Gonna be going ahead. Being closed out here. Wolves, Vicinity. Now, Vicinity check comes out. ASC takes a bow shot to the back of the line. Now it's going to be a chance for the Tessa Enchant to hit, but it's not going to confirm any strikes from NIHQ. Now up to the Keelan, allowing pressure against XCM. This is going to be where he's going to save his F3 as long as he can. There's going to be the double slash. The confirmation for 3 is met, and now it's going to be XCM losing all his armor. F1 from the Wu Chen from ZK comes out. There's the F3 cast. Now it's going to be burning out the Keelan immunity guard. And as SS1 looks to try to go for it, Rosemary is in the Keelan state now for the ultimate. Now it comes down whether or not Wolves takes an opportunity here. They're going to lock down a single target coming out from what seems to be ASE's Moran and looking to try to capture a stagger. F3 is available for XCM, doesn't use it yet, and now he guarantees it with that Tessa Enchant, looking towards a V1 usage, and now it's a guarantee for maybe 1 or 2 stuns, maybe 3 total coming through here as the third party SS1 makes their way through to the south side. FPX as well, fully reset and fully kitted out. XCM needs to look to try to go for 1 armor powder here. Merciless Havoc the whole time. Having XCM on this Merciless Havoc now gives no reason for a push here. The pressure now is going to be on to whether or not they understand that XCM as well as NIHQ and ZK are out of ultimates, but ZK still has a Wuchen port set. But while we go through there, we got Romy Yang for the first round into round 4.
OUG versus JDG. OUG's Jinyu with that Keelan ultimate cutting through these players like absolute grass. Jinyu with the cleaves, bouncing them all out of that Kurumi. V2 still has another one and another one. Fear and Shove's going to be invested, but the Kylan ultimate still continues over and over. He interrupts the Takeda as it is going to be 2-tick overholding on the charged RMB on that fan. Jinyu misreading the timing of the F ability. Swaps over to the Jewel Blades now out of the ultimate, charges up the Scale Rush to keep up the pressure onto the players of JDG. It's just 2-tick who's going low, gets the 1-2 onto the fan, into the jump LMB, into the RMB. But Jinyu is able to utilize those pillars, Scale Rush away, break off from the fight as his players are going to lock down that Cicada. In the meantime, GG currently on the board with White Tiger's prowess that they've picked up from a Spirit Well. KLA being successful inside their Realm of Yang, get their hands onto Vermilion Bird's Might. We're going to see DRG and OUG also winning theirs as Wolves taking the fight against Zone. XCM with the opener of that Viper F3, getting that Tessa Enchantment extension onto the Hardy before Gen 1 can break away from the fight with the ultimate. And that is going to take Wolves up to an absolute steamroll of kills that they've been able to put together. We're just waiting to see the Soul Jade loadout, to see all of the kills that this team has been able to pick up. 12 picked on up for Wolves before we see the second Realm of Yang. And they are going to be out hunting down these teams, hunting down these fights that the teams with Yang depletion are going to be forced to take. KLA rotating into Imperial. OUG on the heels of KLA, who are getting very, very close to Imperial as well. Could potentially kite in, and we could see 4 teams going head-to-head in this space. KLA going to be looking at taking a fight against OUG. OUG with that Vermilion Bird's Might, legendary nunchucks that they've been able to get into the hands of their Keelan, as well as that V2 ready to go. Combo break now going to be invested. Jinyu putting the pressure onto the other team, trying to isolate out one of these targets. The Kurumi is the player that they've got in their sights, trying to force that support utility as quickly as possible, force the Kurumi away from the players so that the tether is out of meter distance. Have to be careful though, because JDG have spotted out the fight, are lurking around, waiting to see if they can find the third party before they try and make their move. Jinyu still holding on to this kill, and ultimate is going to dash over those fences, gets the zip sustain from that F, looks for the parry, doesn't manage to find it, but does stop the wind-up of the Dragon Slayers. Internet has confirmed that was being looked for. JDG now deciding to make their move with the third party. Tutik gets that Kurumi tether. They're going to reposition away as the Tessa ultimate comes out from GG, who find the fourth party. LXM with a massive hit of damage, but doesn't find the kill. The charged RMB on the fist blades may be faster, but unfortunately for them, OUG get to come in first. Aurora's burst out on the field, sets them up to be able to come through with another Tessa enchantment stun, and we can see the Vermilion Birdsmite just getting plucked off of player after player's bodies. We said Imperial would see a lot of aggression serve, and it is seeing one heck of a fight.
White Seconds prowess now going to be depleted. JDG 2-Sec getting a parry off of Yuma. Alliance going to be trying to repossess themselves and towards outside of the Beast Pen towards the tower. But of course, 2-Sec having chances of just having F1 available, having ultimate available, still has 90 seconds to try to get eliminations for Soul Blooms right now. And that's going to be the whole investment, knowing that a team is going to disengage and catching them off for their, without any sort of skills, no cooldowns, no nothing. Now, GG backing away from this. They don't want to take any sort of close pocketed fights. They had the first element of surprise, and noticing they use that Tessa and Chant. Missing opportunity if you're trying to catch as many eliminations as they were hoping for. Not going to be just going straight towards objective-based gameplay towards the map. Now, 2-Sec though, he needs to make sure that he can go for the full investment. Now he's going to be spamming the fans, spamming the Fear and Blast, and now going to be a parry in the backline. Nice one from Revenge. That's going to be a lockdown for all of JDG into the zone, and now it's going to be 2-Sec trying to deny with Fear and Blast. Of course, Jin goes down immediately due to the Romanian depletion. Double parry coming from 2-Sec, catches it. F1 investment coming up from that Tessa, and now it's going to be Yuma going ahead and getting last hit confirmations. Most likely the Soulman gets picked up though. 2-Sec gets up in the RMBs, and now the parry again from Revenge is clean on with it, and now 2-Sec taking tick damage by the zone, leaving out one last member of the team. Now, of course, KLA show back up into the case, so 6 eliminations. They want to catch any sort of stragglers if they can. Alliance is now retreating towards the east side. This is a deep in zone position that we're in right now. Now they got 4 grapples for QGG. He's got F3. He wants to do the close gap that we've seen once before to try to get Yuma. But Yuma is going to be staying silent near the tower. Whether or not QGG wants to head down towards that way, he's going to be going ahead and thinking about the unexpected. Nah, he's going for the expected, the escape. Now towards south side, towards the ballista range, coming towards this tower, northwest of the core. We have to be careful. GG. 5 eliminations right now. I haven't seen a lick of wolves in the past, past like 5 minutes, and they're just be hunting around here in the south side of Plume Castle. But Bauda having a chance, I see Ballista shots.
GG's on Ballista.
This is why this man was laying his head on the table. Actually, folks, he's looking for the Ballista aim. He got it. He's looking to try.
They've spotted Bauda. Bauda having to rotate wide side of zone because that Ballista fire connected onto one of them. And it is going to be KLA now caught a little bit late in the rotation. QGG between 2 players of GG. Going to utilize that Zai F3 to try and break up onto the high ground cliffs away from the players of GG and go unspotted as Bauda had come in, turned around. They knew that teams were behind them. They knew that the team was on Ballista and that those players had now abandoned that position to try and chase down everyone who was late in the rotation. And it's Bauda who are the ones who are actually going to be able to find the profit. KLA's QGG goes down to the Sand Siphon composition. GG, though, backed off. They saw Bauda come through. They knew that they'd given up that hierarchy position of the Ballista, hanging like a guillotine over the heads of everyone in the area, and made sure that when Bauda came for the third party, GG were not the ones that were caught out. As in the meantime, we have the second Realm of Yang spawning on up. DRG Dunkwing with that Zypher. The Zyphon composition utilizing that F3, trying to find the chase down. Looks to find the parry, putting the pressure onto his Hardy, forcing that cube out as quickly as possible. The combo breaker going to be burned from the side of OUG. Dunkwing is still holding on to the Zy V2. Gets another hit off the F3 reset from that Matari ultimate, as well as the Kurumi tether, so he can keep that damage reduction and heal going and keep the aggression in play. Now he's going to come through with that V2 on the circle in play as well, so that he can utilize that to refresh himself if he finds himself being pressured on out by the Kylan or the Hardy. Currently in motion, the third F3 now comes on out. Unfortunately for him, DRG have not been able to live through the attrition of ultimates that OUG cycled against them. The Karumi has been taken down, the Matari has been taken down, and the Zai, without that tankiness, without the sturdiness of the F3 that is supplied to the Zai in the V2, does not have any of the damage reduction to be able to live the pressure of having to put herself into that first position of play. GG on the outside have chased down Bowder. This is the fight that we saw delayed from when both of these teams backed on off from the fight against KLA, but GG are going to be the ones walking away the victor. The tail end of things finished off with the jump LMBs, setting up the stagger for Frio to come through with those longsword hits.
And now GG up with the 8 eliminations, Wolves, Spearwheel gliding. And now this is going to be over towards a ghastly miss. So each of those hands going to hit an 8-second silence. Got to be careful about that in case any sort of players are going to be showing up. That's why they're kiting the buff to try to delay the timeout. FPX just going ahead, though, with the Draco Storm for 70 seconds. Having Gold Nunnies to be on standby with purple armors as well. FPX actually working through here pretty significantly. I mean, having the gear necessary for when it enters into the end game. Now, DRG, we saw Dongqing, I think he actually has group heals. So the sustain from this team in the overworld might be just better than the Romianka position that they're in. This dependency on whether or not Dongqing takes necessary or routage, just backing away from any sort of engagement for just a couple of seconds, gets the team a little bit of armor reset, comes right back in as a hybrid support, or not as a hybrid support, but taking the Jade into consideration, is able to keep a frontline utility aspect in the case scenario that Wushu 98 is trying to support Kakaxi in any shape, way, or form, with or without the ultimate. Now, SS1 finds a Reaper Charm. We're going to get our teammate back up for either the Keelan or the Hottie. Actually, going to go through here and see Yuma get it deleted into the Plume Castle. OUG getting the kills. OUG actually picking up, if I'm not mistaken, can't even see the eliminations because they're still trying to catch their points through here. But if everything comes out towards OUG, Alliance is just going ahead and losing out Yuma. This gives Wu Chen just enough time to just walk around here, because now it's going to be him instigating fights. OUG, GG, they're all around here, as well as SS1 spotting out Yuma. I called him. I mean, the revenge is going to be called out here into the Plume Castle. Is DRG going to go full send? Remember, they need soul boosts. They need to get rid of the Romian depletion. 3.5 minutes going to come out here. Aurora Burst reveal, giving a chance for that Roger skip, but it's not going to be enough, and that's going to be a huge spike. Gold, Hong Sword, Aurora Burst giving towards DRG, so that's going to be something they're going to be keeping out and being very glad that they got their hands on it.
Yeah, and that is one Soul Bloom picked up, one of their players cleansed. Unfortunately for them, though, they did not manage to find a full team kill. Silver lining, they found a player who was caught out alone, and as a result didn't need to invest ultimates to be able to lock that kill down, as it is going to be them now with 2 minutes on the timer to be able to pick up these Soul Blooms and cleanse these lost players. ASE caught out deep in that zone, potentially going to be picked up by OUG, who have the Mystic Might. It's going to be a thin wire for ASE to be able to rotate around OUG without being spotted, which is exactly what OUG are trying to use these last couple of procs of Mystic Might to do. Figure out if anyone is trying to rotate blindside of zone, as this is a recovery play coming through from ASE. They managed to get both of their players back in, as unfortunately for zone, they've been found out. DRG coming on through, putting on the pressure to this zip. Aurora Burst comes on through. Poison Splash is going to proc, signaling the fact that 2-2 has gone down. Unfortunately for OUG, though, the reveal has given away the fact that there was a fight going down, and now there is going to be them. I would say this fight against Wolves Jinyu, with the Keelan ultimate already out in the field, looking to find these dash throws off of a legendary scaled weapon. OUG not really wanting to full commit until they can see that GG are pulled onto the low ground, and Jinyu can find that last slash to find a full confirmation hit and get a little bit of sustain before that ultimate runs out. His Zip F is going to give him the full hit of his health bar back, but now he's caught out a little bit further away from his plays, gets caught onto by that Tessa V1, which is going to lead into LXM with the Viper V1. The stun comes out. Jinyu takes so much damage off of the jabbing, goes down almost immediately to the legendarily scaled F3 hit from LXM. Sir, if you want to see a magic trick, I can make a player disappear, LXM says. Houdini and blink. Absolute detonation.
I hear you with the he who shall not be named. Everything comes out when no one's prepared. When the Viper gets a guaranteed 3-man Tessa enchant, and that was one thing that just occurred there. Wolves now into the mix, want to try to go crazy with the R&Bs. Throwing a lot of blues, Cloud Weaver coming out from Zhao Q, and now it's going to be elimination potentially to get off of SS1, but FPX found it. And that's going to be where 2-2 goes down. Sanzi's going to find the elimination. For everything coming out, though, and we still have a chance between the fights because XCM gets top of that 1-2-3 out of QGG. KLA coming in through here with the Viper Wuchen Tessa chase down as Wolves is trying to go for that res. They got a Xiphon. They can take the chase as long as they want. They got the F3 to close gap. They got the 3-man chest and a chant again, but IHQ is just going to go ahead and burn time to try to get the Wuchen port. We got a res off of XCM in the background, though. This is pretty good to get the team back out, but that burn is what's going to kill him off again. Now F1 comes out from IHQ. This is tough for Wolves. The Xiphon comes out on top as the chase potential goes down towards the Pinnacle Town. And now, of course, Tangxing is just going to go crazy and trying to pick up a Soul Bloom and go again for round 2 for Ultimate. Woods ZK has to just guide out here for placement right now. And now it's going to be gold weapon, gold armor, and gold jades. This is going to be a huge selection. I see a longsword. I need to see the jades. I see a Cloud Weaver on the hand standby and hoping to see whether or not LXM found something of usefulness. Now, that's 2 focus lights on this team, by the way, folks.
Yeah, they've got blistering as well. I'm pretty sure LXM has jabbing on the staff as well. So GG absolutely stacked. GG's best games are always Holoroth. Although KLA are going to showcase the fact that they have Merciless Havoc. GG might make a play for this if they really want that Soul Jade. Especially given the fact that that Spirit Well is going to be contested when it procs up in the next one, and Merciless Havoc is one of the best Soul Jades to be able to utilize to grab that ground. KLA going to have to be very careful about how they rotate that one, though. GG not going to be taking a fight just yet. They don't have that Viper V1 fully procced and ready to go. There's too many teams in the area, as well as the fact that there's too many Xiphon compositions in the area for them to fully rely on that Viper ultimate, allowing them to bail out if they do over-regress, like Wolves experience, given the fact that Matari ultimate entirely counters. We are going to see the Cloud Weaver coming on through from ASE's Moran, who throws the charged RMB into the faces of GG and will lose his life because of it. GG now get the kill that they were looking for. Wuchen teleport out before any of their players can go down, or the Moonbane can make it harder for them to rotate out of the fight. That is the play that they needed to make. That's the play that Wolves needed to make as well. As Wolves stayed in the fight a little bit too long. FPX now showcasing that they have Cloud Weavers. So we have 2 Cloud Weavers on the field guaranteed. We've got one from GG. We've got one from FPX. DRG have a Aurora Burst on the legendary Hang Sword as Dongqing almost has a chunk of his armor ripped off by the Moonbane. Never mind, we go back into it. As he is going to drop the Soul Jade, heal up, pick it up again so he doesn't have to burn through all of his resources before going for the next hit of Aurora Burst in a position where Moonbane cannot possibly interact with him.
They got 2 Aurora Bursts on DRG's side too, folks. So you got to keep in mind how detrimental it's going to end up going. GG also have Wild Wind Spout, so I'm not sure if they're going to be really dropping that Pole Sword like we saw from the Tessa. But if they end up using that, it's going to be a worthwhile effort, especially coming out for the Jade selections. This is where Jade's game comes into play, folks. And now the end game circle really comes up to push that boundary line.
It's Mystic. It's okay. It's Mystic.
Insurance policy. I mean, reset every single ultimate, Viper ultimate preemptive. I mean, looking at Kakashi getting the musket shot on LXM is not what GG wants to see. Now DRG is showing into place what they got. Double Aurora Burst to be available, and then Chant is good. But guess what? Kakashi going to defend. Dongqing's going to defend. Every single one of these Jades are going to be working in their favor. As you can see, the background is going to be coming through. GG going to be forced into that cave and try to go for some resets as long as they can, and hopefully get the rest of LXM. LXM has ult. V1 is ready. Who knows how fast he can get meter dumped out here when that res is occurring? But we're going to see the Tesla, the Viper the ultimate coming out from the Xiphon, and now it's going to be coming through for the Matari. Now it's going to be a chance between every single one of those F2 cats to go exactly in one person's direction. Now Dongqing had a little bit of melee aim right there, but he's going straight up and going for the V2, but the Cloud Weaver denies his entry, so we're going to lock into the corner zone. There's going to be CXZ going ahead and getting almost caught out here, but CJS not caught by the V2. The disenchant can occur here. That is going to be a chance of them getting elimination against CJS. No enchant there. Dongqing's going to go ahead and launch out 3-3-0 into the zone V2 to lock him down, and then Aurora burst reveal again and again. Kakaxi finds that parry, and that's going to be elimination. 3-3-0 goes down. We're going to have around, 13 eliminations so far for DRG. They're looking to try to go ahead up to 16 if they can. Make it 19, potentially. We're going to have to double check and see, because FPX is still kiting around here, as DRG is still locked into the ravine. All the players on the top floor are looking for those cannon shots, looking for the Cloud Weaver to deny entry, just having a chance to just trying to rotate out the supplies pools that they got. Look, the cannon is going to be swapped out immediately to try to get as much shots off with the Rupture Gill as much as possible. KLA, and they're going to head and having a little bit of Biscoff on the side. They're going to be having a little bit of a meal time, because when the end game circle ends in the last 3 minutes, which is going to occur right in the next 5 seconds, they're going to get fully punished here, as that zone's going to be spotted in here, and that's going to be a chance between KLA and UDG to try to get to the sky zone and try to have himself to kite around and skywalk, but he gets go straight towards the ravine for that armor swap. It's a good spot for him to find an armor like that, and now it's going to be a chance between these 3 teams to end it out in these last 3 minutes.
Yep, KLA gets the full reposition as well as that armor swap. The Kurumi Tether, though, is the cost for it, as FPX pulls them off of the high ground onto the low to be able to take that spot. DRG with the Matari going to be utilizing that F straight from the low to the high. No one can challenge FPX currently because of that Cloud Weaver in play. If anyone tries to grapple up onto the cliffs, DRG going to be taking cover inside the cave, utilizing Aurora Burst as an umbrella to stop KLA from aggressing onto them. KLA unfortunately going to be caught out into the middle, having to burn through a lot of their utility. The Kurumi V2 already getting burned as they try and live through the pressure of being caught between both FPX and DRG, and now they're going to go down. KLA are able to find Zhao Hu, but they lose CXZ in the meantime, as Sanzi with that Zai V2 puts himself into the sky, finds the connection onto a player in the aerial, as we're going to see that zone close up onto the high ground and everyone have to break onto the ground as a result. Dongqing now with that next hit of Zai V2 rotation, building up into the meter dump follow-up from the rest of his players. Kakaishi with the charged LMBs on that hang sword zone, keeping everyone from the side of KLA back into that storm. I believe KLA, though, still have their Kurumi Tether attached and are trying to bring back one of their players, but 17S will not be able to find the revive. And now it is just finishing things off. FPX DRG, who comes out on top. Aurora Burst is going to be able to lock it down, and it should be DRG walking away with the last team standing, as well as the overall MVP. It looked like it was going to go the way of GG and Wolves, but then we just saw Wolves get a little bit too aggressive and put themselves into a place where they could get jumped on before that Wuchen was able to teleport them to safety. And then GG, it was absolute tragedy. They got spotted out with one of their players going down in the Spirit World contest. 3-3-0 on the Wuchen, squirreled himself against the cliffside, just in that little pocket of space between the cliff and the zone, went unspotted for the longest time, was waiting for the fight to move away from that onto the high ground so that he could just come through from... Yes,
yeah, they're hot
SS1 coming on through, and there it is, Wolves and JDG trying to get those Fireflies. Who's going to be able to? Gem on the Viper has that V1 ready to go, as does NiHQ. They were able to get their hands on all of the Fireflies that they wanted. They're going to start things off with that Tessera ultimate. Gem now comes on out with that Viper V1 follow-up. JDG getting very, very low. ZK got his hands on a blue rarity pulse sword to follow up all of the CC that Wolves are able to set into motion. Now having to worry about the greatsword coming on through. Gem on that Viper, putting the pressure onto JDG's Jing on this Matari, who's utilizing the charged RMBs to keep themselves away from the fight, but that allows the F3 on the Viper to reset back into motion, and that massive hit of damage is going to tie things off nicely for Wolves. So we're going to see SS1 taking that fight against Alliance NY7, getting their hands on Fireflies. So great rarity weapon, but ultimate immediately in the hand for the Zai to kick things off. And SS1 were not ready for it. NY7 with the drop down gets the stagger so that his player can bolt into the Dragon Slayer's Nessus cleanup. And Alliance making it look very, very clean with the Xiphon composition.
Yeah, spectacular chances of picking up those Fireflies over by the Windwheel. Now chances over here for Bauda. Straight to the Sunwing, catching into the test and challenging, who backsaw complete with the Matari F2. Now it's up to them to kind of focus on Takiki, the Kurumi, V1 full investment. The double pulse sword release, it's going to be had. And now it's going to be a chase down into Sunwings. Jusik is going to be going ahead and kiting through. Has that V2 Zai ultimate at 90-some percentage. Now for Bauda's peak, just catching that flank, looking to the high ground and looking down below. Sees Jusik. He's going to try to cross through the stone, and that's going to be where he's going to look above. Again, only one grapple on instead. I'm not even sure he's going to have a chance. I'm just activating his ultimate to kind of catch this because Jusik is going to be backing off here. I don't know if they're going to be splitting off, and it looks like it's going to be the case. Jusik investing his F3 has 0 grapples as well. That's a yikers moment. Either Jusik's going to have enough time to back off, or whether or not Bauda is going to reposition towards north side. Jing is left by his own lonesome. Peak still with 0 grapples. I'm not even sure if he saw him, but the grapples are heard. Peak found 3. He continues this chase. And while Jing is going to be backing off here, Jusik rotates down south side as FPX arriving into this area. Unfortunate. But FPX is going to have to look towards looting themselves. I mean, right now, Junex has that purple weapon for the dual halberds. Looks to try to catch an R&B stagger if he can. Jusik looking to try to cat around here. Finds that Tesla the Zai ultimate cast to come through. After he find the armor swap, finds it. Blue armor, repeat. There's going to be the V2. No F1 investment from Junex just yet. Having to catch jump LMBs, keeping the staggers. 1, 2, 3s released. And that's going to be elimination.
That's the problem, though, because that Zai ultimate allowed Jusik to live long enough. Bauda show up. FPX might get jumped onto by the Viper, Tessa, and Wu-Chan. Peak, not throwing out the charged R&B on those halberds. Scale Rush is up and out. Bauda not actually wanting to take this fight. Prioritizing looting on up first, as they did spot out that FPX with that Cardi composition are going to be stronger in the neutral. Will we see both of these players take the fight? I think both of them are very wary about the potential JDG coming back into the mix and third-partying both of them. FPX don't know whether or not JDG's 2 other players are still alive and waiting in the area to try and creep back on top of that player and get the revive without having to burn one of those rebuff charms. And as a result, both of them not going to be opting into playing super aggressively, as it is going to be a lot of these teams now that those first drop fights in the hot contest for those Fireflies has simmered down, taking a little bit of a slower start to the mix, running through all of the breakables, picking up as much money as they possibly can. I believe Alliance picked themselves up a Moonbane. Not sure if they've used those just yet. They did get 3 kills very early on as TE head desert side to see if they can find some of these teams to jump onto. As there it is, Alliance with that Moonbane going to be dropping it directly on top of SS1's Sand Siphon composition. NY7 has that Zai ultimate procced. The V2 with the F3 reset looking to try and put the pressure onto them, but they do eat the Dragon Slayers into Nessus. The F3 going to be utilized now, not to try and keep up the pressure, but get out of the disengagement. Tumult ultimate invested on the side of SS1, seeing that they could potentially find that isolation on these players, brought low by that Dragon Slayer's confirmation, and they're going to turn back in onto Alliance despite the Moonbane still being in play. Rumi on the circle was also invested. The Tumult Wisp utilized to turn that into its elemental, as Alliance now sands the teeth of the Zai V2, going to keep the pressure going with these purple fist blades, swapping over to that pistol, trying to chunk through some of that shielding, as Gen 1 swaps to the ranged attrition warfare and returns the favor onto the side. The F3 not finding the connection that it was looking for, but could potentially set NY7 up for a flank to come in unexpected with this fist blade focus strike hits coming on out. SS1 very careful to keep the eye on that side. Behind them, Rosemary looks for the 180 jump parry if NY7 tried to come in with that pro. Goes for the tap dodge to fully charge up the LNB and throws it out immediately. The next F3 will be able to connect onto the support. The Kurumi having to utilize that F3 tether snap to keep Rosemary alive, but 4 seconds have passed. NY7 now with all of the damage on these fist blades continues to try and use those tap dodges and boarded up, throws out the the 1-2-3 to keep the Takeda away from his team. And it took a little bit, but Alliance were able to find the kill. Unfortunately, so it took too long.
No.
Wolves are coming in for the third party with the Viper V1.
Zem's like, I'm coming for you. I'm chasing you down. Listen, 8 grapples on the standby, but he lost all the high ground advantage, X to Y axis. He ain't going much left of her. Otherwise, Yuma is going to be his first target. F3 Zion, immediate for NY7. And looking towards the Moonbane cast and an immediate test enchant. You already know where XCM is going to be heading towards this direction. Watch this. Jump LMB, looking for the LMBs again. And now he's going to be looking to try to go for a V1 with that Moonbane strike, though. May not even be necessary. Goes for F3. Try to find this commitment. There it is. That's the commitment he needed to see. He needs to see the F3 be used, though, from NY7 right now before he can try to go for the cast the ultimate. This Moonbane, though, is a great support line, but the fights are being had towards their own field of play. No team can go ahead and chase down inside of one of these Moonbane circles, but listen, hold checks, we can hold those for days. F3 still going to be available for XCM. There he goes. Launch him into the Moonbane, maybe looking for a strike here. Left and right for the long swords. Of course, Night HQ is in soul form. I think Night HQ might be going for a salty res. Knowing how long this fight's been going on here, he could just spawn in towards the Islet crater and come right back in if that soul altar is still available. But for right now, it's still a 2v3 and the Moonbane's going to expire in 20 seconds. Night HQ somewhere in the midst, just hiding out into the area, is not going to see with Alliance going right back towards it. NY7 goes straight back towards revenge as that chase was potentially to be made, and they're going to be making it happen. And there's going to be XCM looking for the F3. Now, this is going to be the contingency. Do we know whether or not this Viper ulted? And if so, are we going to be able to go ahead and counter that? Because whether that XCM is going to be able to get caught into this wind blast of the blue focus flurry attacks, Wolves just go ahead and get decimated. Alliance getting them the confidence back into play. We love to see it.
Yeah, they had the confidence to take that fight because Yuma had the Matari ultimate. Since it's the Viper V1 as well, like, you don't have to worry about breaking LOS to stop the silence from giving you your Matari ultimate. You can just go immediately for it. As we're going to see the first realm of Yangs starting to spawn up, but unfortunately some of these teams dying late. Not going to be in the stage to be able to take these fights. ASE going to be going head-to-head against KLA. That's the fight that we're going to be following. As in the meantime, DRG and FPX and OUG and GG are going to face off. KLA definitely having the better loot currently, but it is Cardi versus Sand Siphon. Karumi versus Z-Ping. QGG getting grappled out of being able to come through with that massive funk of damage off of the focus hits on those fist blades. Foresight the 1-2-3, trying to find the jump LMBs before going for the tap dodge build-up of the charge LMB. Still has that Takeda ultimate. It hasn't been forced into utilizing it, but neither has the Kylan ulted on the other side. Now we're going to see the Takeda ultimate proc building up into the charged LMB follow-up on those fist blades before setting up for the charged RMB into Merciless Havoc into charged LMB. KLA on absolute fire with the CC lockdown right now, and it's all off of the back of 17S with that Staff Soul Jade. No more Fury and Shells, but QGG is still going to be able to find another connection off the charge LMB on those fist blades. Gets interrupted before he can utilize that F1 the way that he was looking for by the Kylan, with that V2 still being in play. Jiang Dong, though, is going to lose the ultimate now and becomes vulnerable. The attempted chase down from the Zip going to be interrupted. The charged RMB and those halberds taken away from the pressure of the Takeda by the Tumult, stepping up into that second place position. Massive parry comes on through, back to back from Xiao Wen. QGG having to utilize those shift dodges to get himself out of dodge. The charged RMB on the pulse sword, but he's gonna go down to the musket shot, and ASE walk away the winner.
You want to know how ASE won that, folks? They had group heal, advance heal. And I was like, oh, they're living today. They're surviving. They went through all of that pressure, and as long as they didn't focus down that zipping, Morano was just like, I got you, homies. You saw how low Jiangdong was at his HP, his lowest. And then I saw that proc coming through. I saw the Jade's preempted. I was like, is he going to get that heal off? He got the heal off. And then he just survived. He kept hiding around the tower, and all of a sudden, Blue Armor succeeded the day just because Zipping was left alive into the cornerstones of just having that amount of sustain, and that's going to end them into the end game. So they're taking that if they can survive as long as they can. They got Vermilion, so there's going to be looking to try to find some engagements, but having those 2 Jades this early on before second round is just going to be a good precedent to follow. And GG won their Romy Yang, to be expected, but by the majority of it, Gold Spear to be available for CGS, so this is going to be a good spike, especially for those one-hit blue focuses, and especially coming off of the fact that they're still at level 2 ultimate for the V3. Now, looking towards the Draco Storm wielders in the distance, it's like seeing a beacon of light. SS1 are over here, and GG are going to want to take this fight. This is a very interesting predicament. This is double the Sand Siphon here, but no ultimate ready to go for SS1's Gen. Gen is going to get a lockdown potential for the F1, yeah, but the semicircle comes out into the bulk side. This is like what I said I was hoping for to see, the Sand Siphons versus all 3 different Temi ultimates in the combined state. SS1 loses Rosemary, and Gen is going to be locked through here by one army to the next, but Kurumi Circle is keeping him alive, takes all these heavy strikes coming from blue focuses. And now it's going to be a chance of him getting the lead. The Draco Storm is doing a lot of work for the sustain, but also for the pressure, and that's going to be 1 down, 2 down. And then SS1 has 2-2 to kind of survive out here for just a couple of seconds longer, but with this Draco Storm keeping the Kurumi surviving into the fights, it's kind of going to be a tough position. If she ends up surviving this, it'll be a miracle and a half, but miracles don't really happen when you get thrown out. Blue focuses just like that, because GG gets the elimination, and they're going to get that one team out.
Well, we're going to see an immediate fight between FPX and OUG. FPX losing Sandsy behind enemy lines. He's going to have to utilize that combo breaker immediately on the Hardy to break away before OUG can lock him down. We've got Scatter Shot attached to the bow coming through from one of these players on FPX. As you can see, the triple arrows that Jinyu is having to dance, dodge, and duck around before coming on through. Utilizes that F1 on the Hardy to kick things off. SS going to now have to use his combo breaker, having been parried. FPX now looking for the chase down. Both of these teams under Yang depletion. Jinyu wanting the drop down hit of the focus from these nunchucks. Will be able to proc the stone form. Manages as well to foresight the combo breaker as the Kylan ultimate comes on through, finding these dash cleaves, but he's having to be very careful that he doesn't get dash cleft onto by the opposing Kylan at the same time. SS has gone down. The King's Health slowly starting to go further and further as Jinyu is being put into the blender. 1 versus 2 will be able to find the dodge rounds against some of these hits, but unfortunately he's out of the ultimate. FPX's Jen procs his a little bit later and still has the dash throws as well as the help to sacrifice to land them, and it will be FPX able to outlive OUG in terms of solving that Yang depletion and keeping themselves in this lobby, as ahead of KLA, Wolves lie an enticing prospect for a team with Yang depletion that has under a minute to be able to find these kills. Unfortunately for them, Wolves with a Wu Chen might make it really hard. The good news, though, for KLA is that they've locked the Wu Chen down. Does ZK have the ultimate available? Will he be able to get it off in time? The answer is no. Fully locked down. Jen now has no choice but to emergency pop that Viper V1. Try and use that 5-second stun to stop for NiHQ to come through with that Tessa V1, but it is not going to be enough. KLA on the absolute brink of destruction are gifted from the gods above a bailout in the form of Wolves who just fall within 10 seconds.
Yeah, and taken into 3 eliminations up to 6. Now out of the council courtyard, they must descend into Celestra. Other fights are happening to the pace. Obviously, Battle Royale going for that stun and making sure Jiangdan's whole entirety of existence is done, especially with that Ventic Dark and like my combination. What a mix. He's going to have his chances here deleting out Jiangdan. Now the Keelan is out. Now they can just focus on Xiao Wen, and that's a gold post sword. It's a Ventic Descent. Look at the RMBs. And now it's going to be the chance for that F1 bolt to be utilized. The whole check of destiny coming up from Iran, but in case of ASC right now, this is also going to be a huge increase of power if they actually end up going through. And not by power, but by sustain. Moran, remember, like I said, it has the Jays of Destiny to be making through for support line. So that is going to be a huge endgame position for them. 8 eliminations, trying to catch out 9. Xiao Wen still looking to try to hold out this pole sword action and be in a 1v1 against Iran. Iran finds the blue focus release. Xiao Wen has ultimate cast, but one thing leads to another. If a team decides to go for a bow shot here for Bauda or even a musket shot, that's all they need. He finds the perfect lighting position from Eventai Temple, and he is still going through here. And he still has his ultimate ready to go. So now he takes the time to reset. Obviously, into Eventai Temple, not a lot of places you could back off here. Has himself as well advanced heal, so that's another benefit towards the bout. And now Bauda, you seeing about going through here. Revenge. looting up the bodies. F3 coming out here. The Xiphon's going to be coming out for the play. BIWEEK going for the Tesla enchant, not hitting any targets, but this is going to be where NY7 goes to the backline and tries to connect it. I see a parry coming through here. Yuma going to go ahead, charge up RMBs for the Pulse Sword. F3 coming in again here for NY7, looking for the omnidirectionals, but that gold focus is not going to be denied due to Peak hitting the Dragon Slayer in the background, and he pays the price. Now is a chance for you to look towards Yuma and look for the Wu Chen point to get the res here as fast as possible. The defensive ultimate for the Viper, is available. Guess who's pushing though? Alliance. And this is where going to be where it leads down to whether or not Battle will turn this one around here. You having the Dragon-like Might is spamming it left and right, and now the F3 investment's there. The Test Enchant comes out for one target. This is going to be a chance for the Matari ultimate coming up from Alliance to make sure to deny that the entirety of the Viper's existence again. And now comes a Dragon Slayer, dead time on the ground. NY7 doesn't get caught, but he's going to be backing away. The V1 from the Viper, perfectly timed for that 12-second duration from the Matari ultimate to deny the chances of getting a stealth set. And now you're Ron looking to hold check the heck out of NY7 and looking for the backline here. You can see Revenge gets caught through, but Dragon Slayer's clean. Hey, hold on a second. We got that Soulman. We can go right back into this fight because Battle U is going to be the only one person left alive for this chance of fighting. And now the F3 to confirm the kill is going to be the case. Alliance having the confidence. We love to see it. And that's going to be elimination 12 for them this match.
That was such a risk with NY7. When he threw that Dragon Slayers into the Battle player grappling, that could have been a grapple jump cancel out of grapple into parry. But NY7, he throws it out. He gets the big risk. He gets the big reward. Dragon Slayers into Ness's confirmation, and there's nothing that Battle could have done to live past that one. In the meantime, KLA going to be taking advantage of the fact that everyone is fighting out towards Eventide, and no one is contesting the Spirit Well. No one, I believe, even went into the realm of Yang, so I'm pretty sure GG got it for free. That or they absolutely decimated a team, and we'll have to wait and see when the entire list gets pulled up on the left side. If anyone's portraits are orange to signal that they have Yang depletion. GG slowing things down, going to a shop, picking things up. Okay, this is the realm of Yang. It was GG versus DRG. Dragon Slayers, Nezhes, jump horizontal, fear and shove into charge RMB. That is one way to absolutely delete a player's existence. Is CJS just with that spear pressure on the legendary scaling, just forcing so much out from the side of DRG, the hardy glider, already having been invested the jump horizontals into the vertical lockdowns, slamming onto so many of these players. Karumi on the circle, now invested as CJS does lose a chunk of his health, doesn't have that Takeda Furin shoves to peel for his players or aggressively set up extensions into these spear connections, but he still has the legendary spear scaling for those jump LMVs to keep up the pressure. Oh. What a parry! Insane reaction time from CJS! Absolutely crazy 180 parry, catching onto the hardy that just falls out of the sky. That was a Takeda discovering gravity, and instead of the apple on his head, he's able to find the best parry I have ever seen in all of NBPL. That reaction was off the charts.
My man was like, let me pop. No, let me not pop. I'm gonna pop your lifespan. Go. See you in lobby. And now GG winning on Romy Yang, take every single one of those aspects of aggression with a buff with Draco Storm. So leading out to that as well, they do have the Jades of Destiny, as we like to call them. They have Hepa Detach, as well as having Martial Art Will Form Hook. So the amount of lockdown there for a Sand Siphon and Sustain, no less, gives that team comp enough chances of just making sure. There's a lot of good Jades in rotation for this match. I gotta be honest, like the sustain from Group Heal and Avancio, sustain and control from Hepa Detach and Martial Art Will Form Hook. We're gonna double check and see about DRE's performance here. They're going up against Alliance, and Alliance is doing some phenomenal work. 12 eliminations, knocking on wood, as I hope for their success, because it comes down towards this route of getting into their first day of playing and having a superseded lead in terms of point values. Nice parry from Wusha 98, takes the full sword straight through the haste, but no parry connection, went to the opposite direction. Benthic just sent Zai ultimate to connect the attention. Now the parry mode comes out. Wushin with the ultimate for the Keelan, trying to survive for Dongqing, but the V1 is not going to be enough, and that's going to be the lockdown coming into play. We got only two teammates. We got no sustain. Only the Keelan slashes to come through here in the invincibility form to not consume HP, but now the ultimate is done, and Y7 gets those omnidirectionals, and now he's forcing out a gold focus strike. He's got himself to lock him in once he hits airborne status, and now Wushin 98 catches those burns and catches a strike. As it comes out, Alliance is at 14 eliminations right then and there, and they have events tied to their own, but the Valiant Challengers spotting out here from FPX, going to be in the distance. Kakashi doesn't want to really put himself anywhere any further back to where his team was just caught into elimination. So while the 2 minutes underneath the Roman Yang depletion clicks out, might be a chance to see Kakashi coming back or just leaving out the lobby. We'll have to see later on. FPX, though, 9 eliminations. They got themselves, set into their forefront. They're in the middle of this action, though. I know that KLA are approaching to the scene right now and kind of hoping to see him at this high ground position. But once we enter into this cliffside, this is going to be where things are going to get a little bit more tactile right here, Moxie.
Kakashi is actually going to be able to get their hands on a Rebirth Charm and potentially get to a Soul Ultra and bring one of their players back. That means that one of their players is technically going to be cleansed of Yang depletion. Unfortunately, they're still going to have... Okay, yeah. So Kakashi is going to go down to zone. He was the player who had Yang depletion, but he brings WX98 on the Kylan back into things, so he doesn't have to worry about picking up a Soul Bloom. Alliance going to be showcasing revenge with these Dragon-like Might and Benthic dual halberds. This is something that Alliance have been utilizing to devastating impact with the follow-ups. One player gets picked up into the charged LMB on those halberds, and it is just extension after extension from the Zai and that Matari. And we're probably going to see Alliance utilize the Dragon-like to threaten the spacing of the Spirit Well as well. WX98 with the fan in the back pocket so he can get those scale rushes chained together as quickly as he possibly can. Going to be on the run from Alliance, tries to lead them into FPX, sees from the Valiant Challenge scroll where these teams are going to be located to try and lose his pursuers, as it is going to be that Spirit Well spawning on up, and we do see all of the pressure. QGG trying to find the charged LMBs on those daggers. Merciless Havoc also going to be in play, making it harder for these teams to contest. KLA holding this space down. GG dancing on the edges, trying to get close enough to loot and grab everything before KLA can full sweep everything off of the playing field, as this is not the last Spirit Well, so it is an absolute free-for-all, no matter who is able to cap it. And GG make sure that they're only there for a matter of moments before very quickly moving on their way. All of these teams incredibly vigilant of how the Tessa, Viper, and Wuchang compositions have waited for the dome to pop before coming on in with those lockdown ultimates, and as a result, no one is going to be sticking around any longer than they have to. Alliance still going to be patrolling, trying to figure out where exactly that last player from DRG has run off to. KLA holding up onto the high ground, FPX onto the low ground, and we are going to see GG on the middle. So a lot of different terrains coming through from this final circle, which is going to have a massive impact on who is able to utilize these Soul Jades, hold on to those important spaces, and utilize the spaces that they have created for themselves to turn the aggression onto players around them while keeping themselves, for the most part, out of the action, as some of these compositions have to all in more than others. Mystic Might is going to be the buff that procs in the Spirit Well, so not quite as dangerous as White Tigers, but the anticipation and luxury of having back-to-back ultimate casts is more than enticing enough to have these players full commit into holding that space down. GG with the Karumi and the musket putting pressure onto Alliance, who return fanfare with the cannon shots. But it's Alliance who've established themselves currently in the middle of that Spirit Well, and GG as a result going to be having to give up a lot of that spacing. Lovely headshot from Yuma on with the musket to the teams on his left flank, as we can see the Dragon-like Might coming on through, showcasing to all of the teams, if you try and step up to the plate, if you try and contest the Spirit Well in the close, you risk getting scooped up into that Soul Jade and deposited on the wrong side of the lobby, as it is going to be Alliance taking a lot of pressure. FPX just managing to pick up Sanzi somehow, as every single player in this lobby turned onto that Hadi, seeing him fall incredibly low from the pressure coming on out. And as a result, GG have actually been able to solidify that placement on the Spirit while Alliance had given it up, trying to chase after the kills, seeing that FPX were vulnerable, and no one is contesting GG. They're all hunting for kills.
Yo, wait a second. You're going to allow a Sand Siphon team get this for free? All right, listen, the team's going to realize that very, very quickly how, how messed up these situations lead out. Now it is going to be a J versus J department. We saw Armor Pierce now being revealed into the hands of two different players. Dragonlight might still need it into the works. I think 3 teams have advanced group heal on standby. So now it's really up to this endgame circle. 4 minutes left on the clock. GG looking to kite this buff as long as possible just to make sure they can try to work this one through. There it is. The old proc comes out here from the Cicada. Now it's up to CJS. Oh my gosh. 3-3-0 is just a musketeer, man. No swords, just straight muskets. And now it's going to be a case scenario for these shots in the midair. If he can try to land them off, you can see Junex going to be low into the rift in terms of the ravine, having the tether active, looking to try to find the loot left behind by Santi's body. Now forces CJS here with the 2 Furies he has available just to push back cosmic disturbances, get some zone take damage, goes for Dragon Slayer. A very, 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 very all-in move. And now CJS has F1 available, collides with it, looks to try to float around here in case any blues get spammed out towards his way. Bait gets caught into the bait if he needed to, but nope, not going to take it. Zhao Hu, though, into the background here, giving GG enough time, seeing LXM trying to reset, forcing other teams to look for those range shots as the Alliance is going to be the reasons on top of this pathway. Now for CJS, he's going to be spamming out the blues. I mean, this is going to be the case for Dragon Slayers. But one time happens here. Yuma takes a musket shot from the Armor Pierce that 3-3-0 is wielding. Is not going to be going ahead for the sustain as the advanced heal is proccing off, having around 2 healing berries left and 8 armor patterns. Usually teams are carrying more armor patterns than healing, but when the case scenario of an Armor Pierce comes out, it kind of flips it on its table. So for right now, having to kind of worry about whether that's going to be utilized here. We're going to see Rupture Gale being burned out, Kurumi circling, Kurumi getting caught into the headshots, a crossbow bolt coming out from the spam as KLA makes it into the motion here. And for this chance here for 3-3-0, just trying not to invest as much as you can, coming into this position being locked out. Merciless Havoc still on 17S, now with the gold staff, having a chance for the cannon shots to come out from the Rupture Gale as Alliance is looking through to try to deny range shots as well with their own dragon-like might. Revenge getting to the high ground here, trying to see about whether or not he can come in for a sneaky attack, and now it's going to come down towards the position of the end game circle. 2 minutes left on the clock, and this is only going to be to contest who can survive as long as they can before one gets knocked off into the zone, Mox.
I mean, GG have 3 sets of legendary armor. KLA do have Merciless Havoc Alliance making a play now with that Zai F3 to try and put themselves onto that high ground and keep themselves out of the clutches of GG for as long as they possibly can. GG entirely uncontested. They have a couple of damages coming through from them with the Tumult Wisps, but it is going to be that Kurumi F3 Tether Snap to keep that Tumult alive, even as the swap to that range pressure comes on through, having seen the CC being successful against this team. GG just having to wait it out. KLA coming through with the Merciless Havoc, putting pressure onto 3-3-0, trying to send him into that Corruption Storm damage. QGG dodging around the hits of the Pulsar coming on. Out finds the charge LMB into Assassin's Lunge with that dagger, showcasing his trump card up the Takeda's sleeve, looking for those lockdowns onto these players. Has to be careful that he doesn't go too far away into that Corruption Tick damage, as KLA are going to be investing their Kurumi ultimate. GG on the low ground, having all of that loot from the Spirit while putting pressure onto Alliance, who've had to burn out that Matori ultimate. KLA did lose one of their players. The Kurumi Tether is going to be bringing CXE back momentarily, but GG camping the body are going to try and find the kill on this immediately. CXZ will be able to break away with the help of that Tumult ultimate. Goes in to utilize the Wisp, but GG's 3-3-0 catches him with the charged RMB on that longsword, and now it's just a matter of who can outlive GG. CJS with the Takeda ultimate activation puts NY7 further into the zone, gets interrupted by the dragon-like might scoop coming on through from Alliance's teammates, but gets the Kurumi Tether as well as that V2 from 3-3-0 to keep himself hale and healthy in the middle of this storm, as everybody else eats the full Corruption Tick damage. LXM throws the Wisp to turn the Kurumi ultimate elemental and sap everybody's stamina, and it goes to the heal off, and GG with the kills and the Soul Bloom pickups walk away with so many kills, as well as the last team standing. And Serve, I can't help but feel, despite how well GG played it, everybody else left in that lobby when they let GG pick up that Spirit Well for free, they kind of tanked their game. FPX especially, because normally with the Sand Siphon composition, like, you can see the smiles on GG, they can't believe they got away with quite literally murder. With the Sand Siphon composition, you have to sacrifice an ultimate to be able to hold that Spirit Well down, right? It's their standard. They always drop Twilight Pass. They've dropped Twilight Pass since Koi Cup, which is when we saw them the first time on Perdoria. Wolves, however, usually dropping towards Skygaze so that they can put themselves onto Celestial Barge. Changing things up, they're going to be dropping around Azovs alongside Alliance. They are the ones, however, to get into the underground cavern first. So Alliance going to be picking up some of the scraps that Wolves have left behind. Going to have to be careful that they don't take too long on those trap clips, as it is going to be Alliance, as you can see, just not really getting the loot that they were looking for. That Kurumi has got purple armor. At least one of the players from Wolves gets caught out a little bit behind the rest of the pack, but Revenge not within range to go for the punishment, as Wolves actually reposition onto the Mercury River to be able to use those surfs, as we're going to be seeing FPX and SS1 over towards Skygaze, taking a fight immediately. Gen 1 with that Tessa gets the enchantment. LMB comes on out from Jun with those fist blades, gets parried by the spear, which means Dragon Slayer is into Nessa's full lockdown. Tutu even actually throws in the LMB on the tail end of the Nessa, that we see a lot of players go for the cancel off of. Gets caught out now with FPX turning the numbers against him. Will be able to find the kill onto the abandoned player, as it's going to be DRG going head-to-head with ASE. ASE getting a successful Tessa V1 enchantment to connect onto the Takeda, but Donking still going to be able to peel his players with the 2 Furin shoves that he has left, as well as the fact that Kakaishi on that Kurumi allows everyone from DRG to tank the full damage coming on out from the Tessa Viper Wuchang composition. And as we said, these teams are taking fights incredibly aggressively, but they're also finishing them off incredibly quickly, as they understand the potential of the third party is one that they do not want to have to worry about.
Yeah, swiftness is key, especially into these early game spawns. Just trying to find as fast as you can the loot that you can muster, and then just going crazy onto one person, and then having ultimate potentially, just to try to go for a quick cast and pick up soul wounds along the way, just like we saw in the Ascension form from DRG. Now, up to the case, Wolves is on to the Purity Chamber near to the sidelines. You're going to see the F1 investment as XEM finds that launch back with the parry mode, of course, looking for the lethal jab, releases the blue focuses there. XEM doesn't have ultimate to kind of stand by against his Kaidi Yincon, but of course, takes the teleporter from his own side as 9HQ is able to place that out. Sublime job, but you know, 9HQ, bottom of the ringer, has ZK still on ultimate standby in case he needs to proc it out, but 9HQ gets out. Looking at XEM forcing pressure onto his own position, as he's going to be giving a little bit of control. 9HQ misses the bulb, unfortunately, but he gets a nice parry. F1 investment coming in from Tusik is going to be coming out for the 1-2s. There's going to be the release from the Hong Sword. Verticals come out here. XCM still has no ultimate, still has combo breaker available though, and that's going to be a Stormform proc that comes out, but the F1 isn't going to be used in the right timing because XCM now had to use it under dire circumstances. Uppercut is confirmed. The ultimate's ready. XCM goes ahead on cast ultimate. Guess who has it as well? Tusik. He can use it in response as the turnaround is going to be giving towards Wolves' benefit, and Kiki goes down from JDG. XCM has himself to level up to this level 2 swing, looking for this position made to earn out a stagger against the Hadi or even the Keelan in terms of the teleports, and they're taking the teleports to Chase Town. A very nice occurrence of the amount of aggression that Wolves loves to take into this. They still have one elimination. They take that soul bloom from XCM, and the XCM goes right back in, looking to try to lock down anyone who's on the vicinity. Of course, he looks towards Tusik, who burns the F1. Backlining towards his meter dump, gets a successful one, but the combo breaker is available. Tusik is going to be looking to try to hold in a horizontal or a vertical, whether in which he decides to release it. Goes out for a clink number 1, gets caught with the staggers. XCM and Wolves are looking towards these fight. Xing is going to be the only one left remaining, and that's 3 eliminations that Wolves take into that fight.
Yeah, TE now going to be going head-to-head with SS1. Ballista is in play by Tutu, who's just on the outskirts of that Moonbane. Alliance going to be drawn into the fray. This is not that Moonbane. This is not a fight that they want to keep themselves in. As a result, and Revenge now going to be trying to get away, will be taken down by the assassination chunk of that F3 at the hands of Rosemary coming on through Yuma. Going to be utilizing that Tumult combo break ability, and as a result means he doesn't have it for the Tessa ultimate. That is one of the problems with the Tessa and the Tumult matchup. If you have your combo breaker on the Temi when the Tessa uses the ultimate, you're not going to get stunned. If you have to use it before the Tessa ultimate comes through, 100% you're reading that 3-second enchantment window from the V1 Proc's SS1 with a successful hit onto Alliance, using absolutely everything at their disposal. Moonbane and Ballista to hedge Alliance into taking a fight that they're just not comfortable with, jumping on the isolated players when they try and split off to find that disengagement. Really good stuff coming through from them is OUG on the same composition, going to have picked themselves up a couple of kills as well. These Viper Tesla Wu Chen comps really popping off at the early stages of these rounds, taking full advantage of all of the aggression that these teams are showcasing when those Fireflies are in action. Is GG gonna be with that fan. Already gets themselves a legendary soldier for the side of 3-3. We'll have to wait and see if they go into a Realm of Yang and reveal what exactly the Kurumi is going to be holding on to. As KLA kiting through the map, heading over towards Azov Peak. Potentially going to be running into some of these players, but I mean, this place with the amount of teams that landed here probably picked through.
Yeah, it's been picked, through and thin. I can spoil that Kurumi Soul Jade unless you want to, sightline it out, because we're gonna have a little bit of a scrap off between SS1 and Shen up against KLA. Now, of course, having F1 coming through here, we're looking for bows, we're looking for Hong swords, we're backing off here. SS1 Rosemary though into the background, just making sure that chase is going to be committed by KLA. They're going to be looking to try to go for an investment of a test enchant, maybe even to just bursting down one target alone. Now for SS1, they keep cutting around towards the Jedi outlook in terms of directional. We're going to see whether or not 17S is going to be looking to try to go for the whole check. Gets caught by the F3. That's going to be connection towards the teammates to kind of look for the lockdown here if they can. Obviously, there's the V3 coming into play. Rosemary able to get that full silence, a full reveal that denies any skills from being applied in here. That's going to be the deletion. The QGG goes immediately down, and the knockback comes through here with the Keelan ultimate in play. Now the lockdown is being more important now than ever. F1 is now invested from CXC. He gets caught by another Dragon Slayer. This is going to be a huge turnaround as long as he falls down. Yeah, there he goes. And 17S gets that parry in the backline. Rosemary trying to lock down this Keelan to make sure he has no time to escape here. The ultimate is done for. Jump LMB isn't confirmed, but he's looking to release his blues, keeps himself nice and steady, gets caught by the LMBs again and again, but Rosemary is going to get a lot of HP chunked out here. Now the Wu Chen is available. We're slapping this one. Oh my goodness gracious. Now the jump LMB confirms it. That's what you get. I'll stop. CXE gets himself a chance to get into solo, but he getting caught in grapples by two different players, two different places, and that's JDG getting caught by Perry. He's like, listen, I got to move. My pizza's coming into the front door. I need to pick it up. It's going to go ahead and get cold, and I don't want it to be here. It's going to get really, 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 really bad over here right now because CXE has himself to kite out. He broke his ankles. He actually broke his ankles.
He made it look like he was going under the cabin, and then Scale Rush holds to go back up into the open world. Unfortunately, JDG are able to just catch his disengagement regardless. CXE making it stylish, but he's just going to be delaying the inevitable, and I believe KLA didn't have any revives, so that is knocked out of this lobby. Very unfortunate stuff, but I mean, what a kite coming on through. That's going to be one that everyone utilizes. That's going to be one that you yourself, Jack, can utilize in your competitive games. As GG finds the ambush over towards Mercury River, putting themselves potentially into a Realm of Yang. They do indeed manage to get themselves into the portal to go up against DRG, but we're going to be following Wolves versus ASE. Wolves with blue armor and the Cardi composition. Gem getting grapple locked into very early. Kylan ultimate coming on through. They're up against the Tesla Viper Wu Chen composition. That's why Viper ultimate is going to break. And it is going to be Jam with that Tesla enchantment stun coming on through. Puts himself behind the pillar, looking to break LOS from the Viper follow through. The dash is now gonna put the pressure. They see the Wu Chen teleport being forced. Try and find the anticipation. The Kylan dash is setting up the charged RMB on the Halberd stagger. Follow through from that Z-ping. ZK in the meantime has been taken down on the side of Wolves, and it is going to be that second forward of the Tesla ultimate. Jam incredibly low is going to be able to utilize that F1 on the Kylan to break away from the fight, put himself behind a pill and potentially get a heal off. Has to go back into the mix with the Scale Rush, but just eats the backswing of the pole sword instead. An ASE with the Viper Tesla Wu Chen composition, able to find the win inside the Realm of Yang. And you know what's really strange, Jeff? This isn't even the first time this season that we've seen this composition take a fight inside a Realm of Yang. We've seen it happen 5 times now, and every single time they've won.
New tech. I'll stop. Listen, that's what I'm saying. I got questions because I'm like, ASE doing it the 5th time. If they're being here now for this time being of playing that comp against Rami Yang against a Kata Ying comp and beating them out like that, that's absolutely crazy because we always went into conversation about whether or not this comp works outside only.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not just ASC though. Like JL have done it, Wolves have done it, ASC has done it. It feels like a lot of these teams, because of how important the pillar is inside Realm of Yang, the 4 pillars that you have in the Scourge tech there that comes alongside it, the Tessa's ultimate being able to go through those pillars is denying these teams from utilizing the pillars the way that they have been wanting to in the past. Because there are specific lines for Realm of Yang fights against Sand Siphon compositions and Cardi compositions where you rely on the pillar to be able to set lines up, but you can't do that against the Tessa Viper Wu Chen team.
Man, these guys are... Listen, if anything happens to those pillars, it's over. We're going to have 3 pillars that's coming out here. But obviously, right then and there, Revenge... He's on his arc of looking for the hottie, and of course, if whether or not Sanzi gets out of this one, there's still a team chasing behind the Bauda. Bauda have blue armors. They're looking to eaten because they got Realm of Yang depletion. They got 3 minutes left on the clock right now. They got 11 grapples for you. He keeps this kiting going. He could be spotting out Alliance's Yuma, but nope. He decides to go ahead. Keeps looking to the mid ground, and you can see into the background that Alliance. They have basic might, so they could be looking to spot these guys out if they could decide upon engaging. But in the meantime, we do have another engagement, DRG fighting Wolves. XCM looking to proc out ultimate before anything, and Takeda still has ultimate to be available. So whether or not he finds pressure to come out here, it's going to be in time or out of time. Of course, Don King is going to be looking to try to go and having his opportunity of just backing around, just making sure to space out, baiting out, playing the Matador versus the Bull against Aquila. And he gets caught by one horn, but he's still safe. Harry comes out here. The F2 from the hottie is still going to be inactivated, and Don King's going to go ahead and release that Fear and Blast. Free jabbing, free fan R&B coming out in a massive display of power. This is going to be the deletion that Wolves was not anticipating, and DRG get their soul blooms, get their remaining depletion eaten out through 6 eliminations. ZK is going for a swim. Have another 100 seconds left on the clock for him to find any sort of way of surviving out here, because now there's a fight between Alliance and Bauda into this engagement.
Yeah, Peak, having to utilize that Zip ultimate, is going to get hunted down by Alliance, who proc that Tumult ultimate, looking for the lockdown. Revenge too, with the Fury shoves trying to send these players into those wind walls. Bauda are able to kite away from the Temi ultimate, but they still have to worry about those Fury shoves until now. Revenge out of the ultimate with that Katana, tries to find any opening that he can, but he is just being sent absolutely every direction by this Kylan V2 on the side of Bauda, who've been able to live the duration of that semi-ultimate, as well as the Takeda, who now with the meter dump turns it around, having charged up the blue so that he can get the gold and not be parried. Revenge back against the wall, gets sent into the charged R&B on the dual halberds. Yuma tries to come through and peel for his player, does manage to find a lot of damage onto Bauda's Yu, who has to burn out that combo break coming on through from Year and set into motion by the Hardy ultimate, but Yuma swaps to the bow and takes him down. GG aren't the only aim gods in this lobby, as Revenge tries to find the catch with the charge LMB interruption off of that dagger onto Bauda's Yuran. He's going to set up another combo breaker to try and find a disengagement if he gets locked down by these other players on the side of Alliance, who are going to try and find that reset recovery and then hunt down where exactly this Hardy has run off to. OUG and SS1 now going head to head inside that river. Tessa F1 going to be invested, SS going to be knocked back, has the hit of that Viper. F3 will not be able to find any player off of the back of throwing it on through, as these players do have to worry about the zone moving away. It's still early, so it's not going to be absolutely tanking their health bar, but it's definitely going to be having a lot of impact, as Gen 1 now has to deal with a line showing up for that third party. The Tessa can't even get the animation of the V1 cast out. Revenge will be able to take them down, and now turn on to OUG. Revenge with the Takeda ultimate proc, not going to find the stagger onto the Wu-Chan. The teleport will come into play, and OUG teleported further into the storm to try to dodge away from Alliance's watchful eye. They're going to have to be very careful how they rotate back into the safety, as surely Alliance are going to be on the lookout for where exactly this team has teleported off to.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Full investment for a Takeda ultimate preempted to Notion, if not knowing whether or not the Wu Port was available. And then they learned the hard way. Now there's going to be chances here. Cloud Weaver in the hand of LXM. Razor Swift on 3-3. That's a spoiler, guys. For GG. That's going to be the case for that gold Jade. And now they're round fights up against TE. Wash on the gold Hong Sword, purple armor. Someone get the scrub because this man might be dishing out filthy amount of damage. Who knows? Wash is caught by double grapples into the sky. He has F3. Now, of course, CJS hasn't even procced F1 just yet. Now he's reinitiating. Nice kiting going towards straight to the center. Looking to try to scare rush to keep going ahead and knocking out. But there's the F1 investment. The F3 comes out. The Tumult Circle to kind of lock down the Zaya as she is locked through here for a couple of seconds. 14 has ultimate proc. Gets caught by the Takeda Fury, but there's going to be the knockback for the ultimate cast. And that's going to be a chance for the Matari F2 to come back into play inside of the circle. But of course, Kurumi Circle is going to keep the sustain as Siphon's going to be coming out here. CJS losing a lot of HP, taking the Kurumi Circle into his own set as 3-3 is able to lock that one down here to watch, getting gold focus strikes across the corner. Fury Blast at its last whim for one last cast, and CGS is looking for that lineup and trying to burn the ensnare from the Zion, but she dodges it. She was preemptive in Notion, and that's going to be the gold focus spam. F2 from Atari. The F1 comes out for the somersault, but that's going to be the F3 knockback. Hoping to see about that last hit confirmation. There it is. Leo finds it against CJS. Watch having himself to scare rush around here. Razor Swift is going to be in 3-3's hand. He literally deletes out Leo as a result and looks to try to go for that tether spread and trying to keep his teammate alive as 14 gets pelted into the backline. Now it's a 1v2. Wash gets caught with the LMB, and that's all the connection that is needed from GG to win this Roma Yang. And they earn themselves that gold weapon to be accrued, and that's going to be a gold armor as well. Draco Storms in the top right. Look at that. Every single team has picked that up. Gold Dual Blades has been picked through, as well as the purple Hong Sword. I'm curious to see if they're going to be picking up Draco Storm. They got 87% on that Tumult Circle. I say bump it. We're running it. That is it. Triple Draco Storm on the field to play.
That is going to be a lot of aggression. Something that GG also have on the field to play is Aurora Burst for LXM, which is unfortunately the thing that TE constantly had to worry about, as so much of Wash's Zai V2 had to be burned just staggering the Temi before Aurora Burst could fully proc. And so it meant that just the Zai V2 didn't find the damage burst that it was looking for. They weren't able to find the target. They weren't able to bring the Kurumi down. The F3 tether is still active when the Zai V2 was up. All of the fire proc just gets cleansed. And we see FPX, GG, and Alliance, like you said, all on the table. SS gonna get spotted out. The lone player remaining throws the Cav Bloom, gets parried, and Yu is just finding the cleanup. You can see SS just standing still. He's letting that kill just go through. Bauda will be able to find one, and that was a huge turnaround because that was actually a 1v1. I don't know if OUG understood that it was a 1v1, if he was just standing still so that it would be gotten over with before teammates came through. But that was potentially winnable for the Viper versus the Kylan. As we're going to see GG head over towards Imperium. Alliance also in the area looking to see they can find some of these teams with Yang Depletion taking a fight inside the middle of the map. Revenge has been taken down, so they are Sansa Takeda currently. There's TE and Bauda going to be headed around Skygaze. You might get your wish, if you might get a final zone into Skygaze, where we can see whoever procs that lava being the one with a slight edge over everyone else in this lobby, is TE's washed with that legendary Hang Sword. Does have Yang Depletion, 3 minutes and 20 seconds for TE to be able to pick up the Soul Blooms and get themselves out of that situation. Goes over to a shop before rotating. Probably trying to find bounty scrolls at the moment. That's the thing that you really want to get your hands on if you have Yang Depletion, so that you can get that signal flare of where these players are going to be. Jun with the bonk of the 0.9 RMP on that pole sword. Getting so much damage onto Alliance's Yuma, who is going to fall. NY7 now just trying to run and escape FPX's scrutiny. Into the corruption he goes. Kurumi Tava going to be used just to try and keep himself moving, but Jun is absolutely merciless and not allowing this Kurumi to kite away. Does have to take a little bit of downtime to pop off one of those Vitalias before trying to pick up the chase again. And in the meantime, NY7 does actually go down to that corruption tick damage. TE, however, have found themselves a fight. Unfortunately for them, it's up against the Sand Siphon composition. Wash with that F3, all of the fire proc has been cleansed by the Kurumi Tava. Leo is going to use his to try and make sure that Wash lives the full duration of that Takeda ultimate, but here comes the Temi ultimate from GG into the Aurora Burst, into the dreadful whale. GG absolutely stacked on the Soul Jades. Stop, they're already dead. Leo is gone. Wash out of the Zai V2 in a matter of moments. Tries to go for the corner turnaround. Has to utilize the F3 just to keep himself into that tree and break away from the fight as ASE comes in for the third party.
GG just it's a car wash, and they say, "You want the works? All right, here you go." It's full lockdown. Nothing could save TE from that point on, and then 14 is still left alone into the zone, just trying to see about just surviving. ASE though. Listen, 7 eliminations right now. They got gold armor right now for Jiangdong. Now it's going to be a shot position where they have so much loot on standby. They buy another gold armor and just leave it in the zone, because why not? Because that way the teams in the opposite ends don't purchase it. Octa Blade giving out to Zhao Wendo. So that's going to be huge for Tessa and trying to lock down and completely giving free R&Bs releases from both Jiangdong as well as Moran. Now, obviously, we saw GG, so Jade selection that is a little bit of a threshold, because even though we have the Octa Blade locked down, they have gold Jades potentially just being able to release from a range, from a distant range. So if that's going to be the case, that's going to be the case. TE14 though, it is the case where they don't have any sort of value coming back through here. May as well not give any eliminations to any other players into this round, but switching on over to DRG here, having a Starfall Jade, of course, Sap Jade on Kakaxi, as well as just having an Alchemy be built up here passively. Dongqing's going to be looking for these cannon shots and try to pressure out GG. Now, that's a lot of damage off of CJS's armor, so that's going to be a case for them to initiate, but LXM said, nah, what range shots? And that's going to be where they're going to be releasing that Aura Burst and revealing what they got in their hands. Now, of course, having other teams in the backline can look for this anticipation to try to invade, and that's ASC right now. Look at this. Viper Wuchen Tessa has a full, ample opportunity of seeing whether or not the fights are going to be occurring as 3-3 loses out his armor. Looking to try to reset here. Teams off to the northwest, as well as FPX, are now looking for their grievance and looking towards this Spirit Well, whether or not CJS decides to have to use Fear and Preemptive and just defending his team when the pressure comes in. There is no reset. There is no buff. There is no way for them to get any sort of reset on their ultimate, so it's going to be an all-in situation, because right now, Moxie, this is where the all-in situation occurs.
Yep, Alliance, or rather ASC coming on through with the Viper V1, finding the lockdown onto DRG in the middle of that Tumult ultimate, but the Kurumi is able to find that armor circle, keep everyone on the side of DRG topped up for the full hit of that stun to wear on off as FPX now sees that the ultimates have been removed for DRG, know that the Tumult is going to be vulnerable, claps on top of WX98, who's going to be kiting the Cardi composition so that his team can live a little bit longer, prioritizing that support. Takeda hyper carry, surviving longer in the zone as here comes GG for the third party. Surprise drop down Aurora Burst, catching on to so many players, and GG time it perfectly. Not only do they get the third party, they also get the kill elimination count onto DRG's Temi. FPX are not gonna be happy about that one in the slightest. It's GG 10 kills. In the meantime, DRG going to be trying to find this revive onto that Tumult. No one has been looking at that Takeda, but this storm damage is going to be doing so much in WX98. Yeah, he got revived in a really awkward position just by, I think, grappling up from the low ground over that cliff edge. The storm tick just pushes his health bar too far down, and for DRG going for that play opened themselves up that Takeda could potentially have played a little bit safer, a little bit quieter, but he instead tries to bring the Temi back, and instead of losing one player, they lose the entire team as FPX track him down. Jun just going through, checking that no one is crouched inside those purple invisibility bushes for FPX to get some easy kills onto the board. Moonbane gonna be spawning on up. ASE with Jiangzong and the legendary Hengsod utilizing those charge LMBs to keep his movement nice and clean. Not going to get locked down by any of these teams, but all eyes has to be on GG. They're the only Sun Siphon composition left on the field. They're the only Temi left on the field. So everybody knows when they see the Temi, he's got Aurora Burst attached. just in the same way that when Free-Free-O is flashing that dagger, it is going to be attached with the Dreadful Whale. ASC now starting to put pressure onto GG with the cannon shots from on high, but they can't full commit to the fight. Surely GG don't get another Spirit Well for absolute free. It is between them, FPX and ASE. ASE getting into position to grief GG when the Spirit Well spawns up. Actually goes early with the Tessa enchantment as Jiang Dong puts himself into position to start capping that Spirit Well and pushing that meter. Can't stay there for the full duration though, as GG with the Aurora Burst are going to make it incredibly hard for any of these teams to hold their position. LXM with the combo break investor tries to throw out that Wisp. The Dreadful Whale setup is available. The Tumult ultimate comes on through. LXM finds a parry. It's going to be Jiang Dong making his move. The Viper V1 tanking all of the damage coming on through. Spirit Well still going to be contested by all of these teams. That Tumult ultimate might wear off before GG are able to cap it and get it back onto the board, but they still have the Soul Jades. They still have CJS and 2 Furin shoves to their name. Have to put themselves to the back of the zone as the Tessa enchantment does catch on to the Takeda. And as a result, CJS has to take a massive step backwards so that the follow-up is not there. ASE now with the Wu Chen teleport going to be putting themselves into a reset position so that GG and FPX can keep looking at each other and buying them the full time to get their resources back onto those health bars. GG going to, with the Aurora Burst and the Dreadful Whale, look to start taking up more of that Spirit Well progress, but FPX tried to make a play to stop it. Jun goes a little bit too early, gets caught out by the stack of Soul Jades in GG's hands, and we're going to see the full Sand Siphon Soul Jade setup for every single player that tries to drop down and stop GG from getting their hands on this buff. GG now turning their attention onto the Tessa. The combo breaker has been utilized. The Viper from ASE having to step up, utilizing the F3 to buy the space for the Tessa to retreat, building up into the V1. Jiang Dong now at the center of that Spirit Well, trying to utilize the scale rushes, having had that V1 and all of the damage reduction wearing on off. GG get another Tumult ultimate back into play to set up for a Dreadful Whale into Aurora Burst follow through. This time that target is FPX's Xiao Hu, and he will fall slowly but surely. GG are working their way through absolutely every player left in this lobby. They get the Spirit Well, they get the Mystic Might, they get the ultimates fully recharged, and CJS with the Takeda V3 sets the Furin shoves into motion for the charged R&B follow-ups on the fan into the Dreadful Whale, into the Tumult ultimate isolation. Tessa ultimate comes on through, catches onto 2 players from GG, but the Tumult ultimate is still going to be in play for them to utilize as an umbrella and hide from all of the follow-up damage from the side of ASE. They're caught between FPX and ASE on both sides. GG are the enemy that both of these teams need to turn on to. The ultimates now removed from the side of GG. They've had to burn absolutely everything as the 2 teams converge onto them. Combo breaker from the Kylan gets caught on in. CJS with the overhold on the charged RMB before falling back to the safety of the Aurora Burst to lead into the Dreadful Whale follow through. Catches so many of the players from ASE, but they wisely hold on to the Tessa combo breaker so that GG don't get an extension off of the back of it. And GG utilizing those Soul Jades are just trying to buy themselves the space to build this Takeda ultimate back into the mix before the Storm closes serve.
Now is a chance right now, CGS, every single ultimate to be invested twice fold over. Now it's going to be the chance between ASC to kind of work this one out. The Viper ultimate's back up and running. This is going to be a close pocketed 1 minute circle left to go through here. Jiangdong going to have a chance to rotate around here. Obviously with the R&Bs for this fifth blade, it's going to keep the momentum alive. Has F3 up in a second, but there is going to be the guaranteed Tessa enchant. Hoping to come out here as it's going to be the Tem. He's going to burn his F1 to try to immune through the enchant, but guess who's ready for that? Jiangdong's going to have his V1, but he gets caught by the Wisp throw. The R&B for the fan won't hit, but he's got the ultimate to stand by here. And of course, if he looks for this multi-way stun, he's going to have to really reach the heights here as his teammates are going to have to look to lock down one stun target. Of course, cannon shots into the zone. CJS takes these last hits. He still survives. And the semicircle comes out in clutch, and he's going to have enough time to just go for one heal off in the circle. And of course, if everyone allows for it, LXM's going to have free real estate for that Aurora Burst. And now Junex taking a lot of heals over here, man. He's got an ultimate ready to go in just a couple of seconds. There it goes. An elimination. He finds that Solum. He has the ultimate ready to go, but he's going to hold off to the last possible second. Of course, Zhao Wen with ASE ASC getting the ultimate strikes is going to go ahead and proc it out preemptive, and there's the last hit confirmation he needs for FPX. This is exactly where the situation leads out for Keelan, and of course for the 10 eliminations to be earned into this game 6. FPX earning themselves out for that first place position, and of course taking the multiplier with them for the finale of the Padoria nighttime map. Now, here's going to be the chance of seeing the scoreboard because everyone at the very end kind of worked through, but I think GG took it, and that's going to be the case. They are going to be the MVPs. They're the winners for round 6, and they're going to be the final winners for today's Day 2 Trios.
Ooh, wow, we went from no one contesting Spirit Well to everybody contesting Spirit Well. We saw, what, 2 Temi ultimates being booked up